if you could kind of just synopsize from when you came back and ultimately when you got into the engagement that the Medal of Honor incident takes place.
To me, August 8, 2012 is the exact definition of what war is. It is unfair, it's unpredictable, and evil is always lurking, and you need to be ready for that shit. It was a 1,100 meter movement, short movement. And about 700 meters into it, I knew we were about to get hit. I just didn't know how. Quiet, atmospherics were quiet. There's no kids, nothing in the street. They came at us with motorcycles. My platoon sergeant I put up front turned around to look at me to tell me, hey, something's wrong. And as he's turning around to look at me, he starts looking to my left. And then he's staring. So I look at his eyes, forced me to look to my left. And that's when I saw this kid threat. So immediately, I left my position and started going towards him. He was walking backwards, like really weird, like looking at us parallel to us, right? Then he did a 180-degree turn and then another 180-degree turn and boom, came towards us. Creepiest thing ever is the fact that he never looked at me. I hit him with my rifle across the chest, realized that he was wearing something, let go of my rifle that was slung to my kit, grabbed it. That's when I knew he was wearing a suicide vest. And the only thing I could think of at that moment was I got to get him away from everybody as quickly as possible, as far away as possible.
Welcome to MIKEDROP, the podcast where relevancy is irrelevant and we don't give a shit about your feelings. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, it's both an honor and a pleasure to welcome my next guest to the podcast. He spent 7.5 years on active duty with the United States Army in the 4th Infantry Division, 4th Brigade out of Fort Carson, Colorado. He is a Medal of Honor recipient. He's an immigrant from France. He's also a business executive, although we're not going to hold that against him. He makes John Wayne look like a pussy and carts his brass balls around in a wheelbarrow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the stage, Florent Groberg.
Thanks for having me, man.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Yeah, I appreciate it. What was that?
I love that, the John Wayne piece.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. I wouldn't want to mess with him.
Well, I mean, luckily you don't have to, right?
Yeah, no kidding.
No, I mean, you know, from all of the accounts of your story and experiences that you've been through, I stand by that statement, but I'm really looking forward to getting into it. And I appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy, and I've been trying to work out getting you on the show for a while now, so I'm excited and stoked and honored to have you be here.
Same here, brother.
What's your best piece of investment advice?
Right now, today, it's all about being able to diversify. So I'm into multifamily housing. Been doing a lot of reading and learning. Got in with Eric Upchurch, not too long ago. Veteran. We wrote one of those multifamily books, and then I got into some of my buddies who are in insurance and just asked them questions because they're doing some insurance for multifamilies. And goodness gracious, did I make the right type of investment in this type of environment that we're in? So, look, obviously stocks. I did I dabbled a little bit in crypto. That's going not well for me.
Yeah,
I've done my better research, but multifamily investing has been one of my keys so far.
Let's say, average listener works a full-time job, maybe has $10K or less of, investment money or play money, if you will. What would you say to somebody like that for something like that? Same advice, just on a smaller scale, or?
Yeah, so it depends, right? So there's all these crazy cool apps popping up like Fundrise, right? I haven't used Fundrise, so I'm just kind of using that as an example where I've seen some of my peers and friends who don't have, the biggest pocketbook, or, they're trying to save their money because they want to buy a house and they want to do something else, but they do want to take some of their funding and bank account savings and, put it in the market, but they're scared to put it in the stock market. And I don't blame them. God knows where it's going. And so there's some of these organizations like Fundrise and many others where you can put 500, 1,000, and that just gets to go, that gets transitioned into the bigger plays, and you get a percentage off that. So your money is making money for you, and that's an opportunity for them.
Yeah, good stuff. No, to me, it's always interesting to, get different perspectives from folks in all different walks of, the business industry, if you will, because it's pretty varied in what people recommend, But to me, like anybody who's successful, I always love to pick their brain and ask them what they think. What's the most impactful book that you've read?
Afghan Campaign from Stephen Pressfield. It's probably the most impactful one. I've read it like 5 or 6 times, specifically because what happened with Alexander the Great is still relevant to what happened to us in Afghanistan. Same places, same type of enemy, almost at times some of the same fighting tactics. And so I remember reading that book while in Afghanistan, while flying, going to Peru. I have a picture of that on Instagram. It's pretty crazy on an MI6, whatever the hell they're called. Russian aircrafts. And it was fascinating to me because, from Torkham Gate to some of the other places we're out in Eastern Afghanistan, it's just the same crap, man.
Yeah. Like, what was the name of it?
Afghan Campaign.
Afghan Campaign. Stephen Pressfield.
Yeah. That to me was, it's a book that has really made an impact on my life and really about leadership.
Yeah.
Because the book follows this almost private, right? And you go through his experience and his want and need to go into combat. And then once he finally gets in combat, his understanding of the evil in war, but also brotherhood and sisterhood and sacrifice. And you see this guy grow into this almost savage, right, type of a warrior who makes some really difficult situations, but then to come to understand the local populace. And this whole thing of like, you can't just go into a country, whatever country it is, and just go out there and destroy and expect these people to take you in and respect you, right? You have to understand their culture. You have to understand their language. You have to understand what they've gone through in their history. And it really helped me be a better soldier in Afghanistan because it opened up my eyes. I'm like, I need to listen a little bit better in these key leader engagement meetings, not because I give a shit, but because if I can pick up a thing or two here, it's going to give me a better understanding of what they want from us or the expectation of what they're going through. Because a lot of times these individuals were, they didn't like us, but they were hopeful because it shows how they didn't like the Taliban, right? And so they just wanted to figure out like, what's the best course of action for me without me getting killed by the Talibans when I leave. And that was super fascinating to learn that from that book.
Yeah. Did somebody recommend that, or was it through your own research you just decided to read it before you went?
I think I just picked it up. I think I was at a USO in Bagram, and I just like snatched the book, never returned it. Yeah. Right. And I just kind of liked it.
Yeah. Was there any direction from any of your leadership, being an officer and getting ready to go into a combat zone, as far as reading lists or like words of wisdom that were more kind of off the cuff or less formal, like not a here's a leadership course we want to put you through, but anybody that like pulled you aside and said, hey, here's the fucking deal? Like, was there any of that before you went?
Honestly, not really. And to be honest with you, I never really paid attention to people's reading lists. Yeah. It's like, I'm at fault in that one. Never cared, because I think half of these people's reading lists are bullshit.
Yeah, it's just,
I think someone puts them in for them and like, they have 13 books. Like, how do you have time to read 13 books? I really didn't. Like, when I just didn't. But I went into basic training in 2008 in July. And in November of 2009, I was leading really December 2009, I was leading a platoon in Afghanistan. Wow. And so I went straight through, right? From basic to officer candidate school, basic officer leadership course, infantry leadership course, airborne, ranger school. And then as soon as I graduated Ranger school, 6 weeks later, I was boots on the ground in Afghanistan, right? So I went to my unit, did my in-processing, all that crap. Yeah. And I was green as it gets, man. Like, I really had no idea what I was getting myself into, except that I knew I wanted to be there. I wanted to make a difference. And did that perspective change early on as soon as I got boots on the ground, when I realized, holy crap, this is what I've been wanting my entire life. I want to make a difference, but am I really ready for this? Yeah. Now I have people under me and I have to actually lead them into this valley or up this mountain or up this peak and go fight. I don't know shit about shit. Yeah.
Well, I think that's step one for, I've always been, I'd say, as fascinated as I am confused by, the military's thought process of, putting young officers in charge of people that fast in those environments, just because they've, been through college, have a degree, and have been through, OCS or even an academy, which we'll get into. But, I mean, it's, it certainly, begs the question, like, is that the best course of action? Where does that come from? Is that something that, looking back on or reflecting after, that you had any, kind of debrief, hot wash points for your leadership as far as that goes? Or did you feel like it was all right?
It's a great question. So I think there's a couple points there. One, they believe that education and the ability to go through college and all that stuff qualifies you to be a better planner, yeah. Right? And I don't disagree. Here's my thinking process. When I went to Afghanistan, my first tour, we were in about 250 engagements. You've been there, you understand it. A lot of it was bullshit. Just, a couple pop shots here and there. You have to go, as an officer, you got to go back, write a report. What do? I write a lot. So they look at education, the ability to be, to communicate as a key point. I tell this story all the time. I fired 6 magazines towards enemy and those 200 plus engagements that entire tour. Why? Because that wasn't my job. People are like, what? What does that mean? Like, you went to war, like you're a soldier, blah, blah. I was like, no. I had privates, I had squad leaders, I had a platoon sergeant. My platoon sergeant had been in for 16 years, the most experienced guy, on the team. Afghanistan, Iraq. I was incredibly dependent on his experience and his leadership to be successful as a young leader. But what I was really good at was I could read a map, I could call for fire, I could assess the situation around me and go back to company, or battalion net and ask for resources, right? I need a call for fire mission here. I need, a drop here because we're running out of ammunition and we need water, we need all stuff. I could coordinate with other units so that they could come in and do QRF on us, right? That was my job. And I think that actually makes a lot of sense. My soldiers, most experienced soldiers, were all warfighters, right? It's kind of like leave them alone to do what they're really good at, right? Yeah. Let me go take care of the bullshit, the logistics, the planning, the assessment, and all that stuff. So in essence, kind of makes sense because to get to where you are as a soldier, I hate to say it, but especially in wartime, right? You start early. A lot of these guys started at 18, 19, 20 years old, and they have all the experience in the world. By the time they're a platoon sergeant, they're seasoned. So as a young leader, I'm good at my job, which is to be, in charge of the overall battlefield. But man, I wasn't the best shooter on my team. I wasn't the best warfighter on my team. I had people who had been doing this for a long time that were, and I had to trust them like they had to trust me to do my job as an officer. Yeah. And I think that that makes sense. Now, not to take away that an NCO or a platoon sergeant can't be an officer or a better officer. Hell, the majority of them could do it. And they would probably be a lot better. But I love this opportunity to separate and yet connect both. And it just works if you have the right type of leader and the right type of mindset, which means take your pride, your ego, and your rank, put them to the side. Yeah. What matters is your team, right? And you only win as a team. So do your job.
I think that's extremely well put and refreshing to hear. I know, just like there are plenty of E5 and below guys that, give that section of rank a bad name because of X, Y, and Z. I think that's the biggest gripe with enlisted guys towards officers is not putting their ego, rank, et cetera, aside, and they walk in as a 23-year-old, fresh out of fucking OCS, like, I'm fucking in charge. Like, if you have to tell me you're in charge, you're probably not in charge.
I was scared shitless.
Or the quick reminder that the word of officer is office, and maybe you should stay in it, type thing. But it's great to hear your perspective on it for sure. What are the 2 key components for canine success? That's effective training and proper nutrition. Fueled by Team Dog brings those 2 components to your family and best friend. The perfect nutritional balance that results in a higher mental acuity, energy, overall vitality, and even an improved appearance. Every product you will find in my company's store was born from the battlefield and not from the boardroom. Let my life's work help you become your dog's hero. What's your favorite childhood memory?
Oh man, favorite childhood memory. Probably coming to the States the first time. I think I was about 7 or 8, and I'd watched the movies. I grew up in France, and I didn't speak English. My mom had met this guy named Larry, who became my adopted.
Classic American name,
right? It doesn't get more American, right? Who became my father, who adopted me, and he took us to Chicago. Probably going to a Bulls game was one of the best experiences as a kid.
That's awesome.
Because you've seen Michael on TV and all that stuff, and the fact that now was in this massive stadium, an American sport and a sport. I never watched basketball live in my life, and here I was, and just being in the States, everything was bigger, McDonald's, whatever you want to call it. It was just awesome. That's probably one of my favorite childhood memories. And the other piece would be just growing up in Paris and spending majority of my time outside playing soccer, getting into fights, do things like that. And it put a little bit of a toughness on me that I didn't realize I had till later on in life.
Yeah. The old street smarts, huh?
Yeah.
This is a totally random question. Do you, at this point, with now being in the United States as long as you have and speaking English, primarily, I imagine for as long as you have, do you still think in French or do you think in English?
So it's a really interesting question because I get that one a lot. I don't know. I'm assuming I think in English. I just don't know.
Really?
Right?
What about, do you know if you dream in either?
I would say English just because that's the language I speak, but I don't know. It's because I can jump from French to English just like that.
Yeah.
And then in my brain, it's just easy, right? It's just natural.
Yeah.
So I think it's like a mix. I know sometimes I probably do both, but mostly it's English now just because I just don't have the opportunity to speak French as often.
Yeah. Do you get back to France often?
So, yeah, I've been back now twice in the last 4 years. We did our honeymoon in the south of France, which is probably one of the best parts of France. It's the south of France, and it's just beautiful and gorgeous. Great food, chill people. I was just in Paris, 2 months ago in May, 3 months ago. I was representing, I'm part of the American Battle Monument Commission.
Oh, wow.
And so I got to represent the U.S. out there and go to the Netherlands as well for Memorial Day.
Yeah.
So that was a massively impactful moment. And so it was good to get back to France. And it's just interesting when people look at you and, American passport and stuff, and you speak French just like they do.
Yeah.
They're a little confused.
Yeah. They're like, what the fuck? Do you notice as big of a cultural paradigm shift as is portrayed in the media in France and specifically in Paris in the last, say, 8 years with the influx of so many immigrants from the Syria, Iraq region, or just from the Middle East in general? Like, do you notice a big difference, or is it overplayed?
Oh, 100% overplayed. And the reason why you can't do that with France, it's an immigrant country.
Yeah.
I'm an immigrant in France. Like, my family is North African, right? That's why I'm brown and look like I do, and TSA loves me, right? So, but it's it's bullshit to me.
Yeah.
Look, there's always been this this issue with white French folks who've been pissed off forever about the fact that there's so many immigrants. But look at history. Well, the French were one of the top country, with England and even Spaniards too, Spain, that colonized the world. And so what France did that was super interesting compared to everybody else is when they colonized a part of the world, a country, a region, as soon as they colonized it and you were born in that country, you immediately became a French citizen. So you're talking about North Africa, like Algeria, right? Or you go to Senegal and all the places in Africa, or you go to Vietnam. So you're from that country, you're born in it, and then you have Algerian citizenship, but you also have French citizenship.
Yeah.
After a while, a lot of these folks were like, you're telling me I'm French? Yeah. You telling me I can go live in Paris? Absolutely. Okay. So they picked up their bags, and their house, and they all moved to France. So it's been happening forever. So the fact that you see this influx now of Syrians and stuff, yeah, I get it. It's a little bit different story, but it's not new, right? And, they actually are a lot better than we are at triaging who comes into the country and how it happens because they've been dealing with it forever. It's open borders in Europe, right, for them, like for Europeans. So you're seeing a lot of that happen in France, in the UK, Netherlands, in Germany, but they just know how to do it a little bit better than we do in terms of how they want to open up their borders and who comes in and how they're vetted and how they, who gets to stay.
Yeah. So it doesn't seem like a stretch or surprising then that it's no different than here, and that there's a lot of cherry picking of like, oh, there's this riot here and it's these immigrants doing this and whatever. Like, but in the broad scope of what's actually taking place in the country, it's it's blown way out of proportion. It's just the media is focusing on certain things to make it look a certain way.
Everyone's got a story to tell in their own perspective ways, and there's a lot of perceptions out there. I don't try to pay too much attention to what I read in the news. And then when I do read something in the news, I try to vector check it with other news. So, whether it's Fox, CNN, which obviously are, they're both different. Good on their own side. But, you do a little BBC, a little NPR, Al Jazeera, when Al Jazeera USA was one of the best news sources.
I think it's one of the most non-biased ones,
exactly,
which is, maybe surprises a lot of people, but it is. Like I've noticed, to me at least, like if you want to actually just hear news, with as little slant as possible, surprisingly, that channel or station is one of the best for that.
Agreed. But it's been really frustrating in the last couple of years. I hate listening to the news. Like it just gives me, my wife every morning.
It's not even the news, it's
a storyline almost like that they want to keep growing on. So. Yeah, it's. I think that there's a little bit of it's blown out of proportion a little bit as always with everything, but there's always truth behind it, right? You just got to figure out what's the truth and what's the bullshit.
Yeah, I guess the biggest question would be when you were in Paris here recently, if you contrast it to when you grew up. Minus the normal shit of, when I go back home, it's like, wow, there's a lot of things that are different. There's growth and whatever. But do you feel like Paris is a different city now, or does it seem pretty similar?
It's the beauty of Paris. It doesn't change.
Yeah.
It's always going to be its own thing. I do think it's become, like, the only thing I'll say is there's just a ton of not 7-Elevens, but Starbucks, right?
No shit.
There's a ton of 7-Elevens in Asia.
Yeah.
Absolutely fascinating. Japan is just littered with 7-Elevens. Right?
Really?
It's everywhere.
That's interesting.
But no, I think the beauty of Paris, and it's just like the beauty of Rome, I was just in Rome, is it's still going to remain true to itself.
Yeah.
And it's because it's hard to change, like architecture wise, right? If you go to Paris, you go to Rome, it's old, right? It's historical and stuff. So you have a couple buildings here and there, but in essence, like the foundation of those cities is always going to remain the same. And it's so when you have your foundation, your city is still there. It's hard to change that identity of it.
Yeah.
Versus a New York, right? New York's New York, but you can change the identity in New York rather quickly, in my personal opinion, just because we manufactured that piece and we can change it the way we want to change it, right?
Yeah. I guess timeline wise, too, New York is in its infancy by comparison.
100%.
But
100%.
Is there a favorite part of Paris, which I know is probably almost impossible, but is there like a must thing or place or restaurant or whatever, like every time you go back, you've got to go do this?
No. Honestly, it's it's hard. It's a hard question because for me, it's about walking the streets of Paris and go to the different arrondissements, we call quarters or neighborhoods, and hole in the wall shops. Like I just my crepes. I love crepes.
Yeah.
So I'll find
does blueberry cream cheese ruin them, or is that all right for a French guy?
Man, you're killing me here.
Fucking IHOP.
You're killing me here. I am. It took me like 5 years to eat a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and
really?
By the way, I love them now.
Yeah.
But it's just like I'm very strict on my stuff, and
so is crepe by itself plain? Is that how you like them, or do you put
Nutella personally, Nutella or jam.
Yeah.
I've graduated to like Nutella banana and stuff like that, but I don't put any whipped cream on it. I don't put any powdered sugar. Like when I go here and like they want to put powdered sugar on my crepe, I want to punch them in the face. I'm like, no, just keep it.
The purist. So would that be your recommendation for an American's first time to Paris, is to do that, is to walk the streets?
I say walk though. Like that's the thing. Like go walk the entire Champs-Élysées, because you're gonna go. There's at one end you're gonna see the Arc de Triomphe, which is really cool. Like sight. But walk the entire Champs-Élysées and just go. At the end of it, you're gonna have this little pavilion where they have street merguez, right? Like sandwiches and stuff. Really, really cool. A lot of like pop-up shops, a lot of art. But I tell them like walk the city That's my number one recommendation. Go to Notre Dame, go to the Eiffel Tower, and I walk, man. I'll walk 10, 12 miles in a day and do the whole thing without getting in a taxi or nothing. Yeah. Pick the right time of year to do it when it's not too hot or raining, like in the winter, and it's just beautiful.
Is there a most overrated or a, skip this part of Paris, or?
Most overrated? I guess the Eiffel Tower is like going into the Eiffel Tower and going all the way to the top. I think that to me is a little bit overrated. It's pain in the ass, first of all, getting the elevator and waiting and do that wait and you get up there. It's just high. Yeah. Cool. I mean, you really see nothing, or eating that restaurant in it. Like, to me, it's not like it's overrated. Yeah. I just go and check out the Eiffel Tower. Cool. I'll say the one thing that's really annoying to me is the Louvre is amazing. But it's just, you can't enjoy it, man. I can't get myself to enjoy it. There's just so many people. Yeah. I don't like being in massive crowds. Yep. And we just did it again, my wife and I, in May. And I'm just like, even her, after an hour, we're like, we're out.
I mean, to me, it's like most national parks here now. Like there's so many fucking people at every one of them in the summertime, at least, that it's hard to enjoy them. Absolutely. Like Yellowstone, especially. I mean, it's. Yep. Unless you go there at a couple of really, really opportune times throughout the year at off-season, segments of the year, it's really difficult not to just be fucking irritated. But what is your morning routine on a normal day when you're in town? What time you get up? What's the first couple hours look like?
So I've been trying to get better at this, and I'm not. But it's just, we wake up at 6:30 every morning. It's just my wife is a lot more disciplined than I am, and she's pregnant right now, 20 weeks. So
congrats.
And we did IVF, and so for almost 7-8 months of our lives, we had a miscarriage in November, and she's gonna kill me that I just said that because she hasn't announced it on.
We can edit it out if you want, but
fuck it.
She probably won't listen anyway, right?
Well, I think. I don't know if her friends will listen. So that's where I'm like, whatever. But, we did IVF. And for anyone that's gone through IVF, I give you props because I didn't understand the requirements and really the sacrifice that the woman has to go through. Think about doing like Lovenox shots for, in essence, like similar, right, for 6 months. And every morning we did that. At 0700, and so you got to prep and do all that good stuff, and the hormone changes and things like that, which she had to go through, and that to me was really powerful for her to do that and her commitment. And so we have a boy on the way.
Oh wow!
But my morning routine is simple. It's just get up in the morning. Obviously, you go through, brush my teeth and stuff like that, and it's to take the dog out right before she goes on her walk with Carson, and check email for work, and then get a workout in. Trying to stay healthy. And after getting blown up in Afghanistan, one of the things I realized was what saved me, aside from my peers and guys like Travis Mills who came to my room and gave me a lot of support, was just to stay, to defy the odds and stay physically fit, keep my brain healthy by being active. Yeah. And so I try to get a workout in every morning, and then just get ready for the day with my team, on the business side, and make sure that I'm prepped up to support whatever the mission of the day is. But, get that. My evening routine is always easier because it's 1830, 6:30 dinner. Yeah. But every night, same thing with the wife, and it's just one of those moments like we commit to that. Yeah, and I like that.
That's cool. Do you eat anything in the morning, or are you more of a?
No, I mean right here, coffee. Yeah. I've never been a breakfast guy, and then I did intermittent fasting for almost two plus years, and I stopped because I've been having a lot of digestive issues. Like I have another endoscopy and colonoscopy on Friday, because after the blast, I've had some issues with my heartburn and things like that. But what I've done though is intermittent fasting and just really do my shakes and things like that. And it's become sort of natural, and it's been unbelievable for me because it maintains my weight. Even if I don't work out, I always stay around the same 5 to 6 pound barrier. And I think it's because what I eat.
Sure. Is there a particular workout that you subscribe to, or is it you just stay active?
So, I mean, CrossFit to an extent. And the reason, like, I'm not a real CrossFitter because I don't do a lot of these Olympic lifts that they do, and I can't compete with those guys just because of my injuries.
Yeah.
But I like HIIT and I like CrossFit. I'm trying to defy the odds and get back into running. I used to run track for Maryland, so I was a pretty big runner for the majority of my life. And so I've been, we got a Peloton bike and Peloton thread, and I've been jumping on that a lot.
Yeah.
Trying to see if I can. I have an IDEO brace, but I'm trying to see if I can run a 5K back. Probably like around 20, 20 minutes. And for years I didn't run, and so this year I've run probably a total of 15, 20 miles.
Yeah.
And I've probably done the majority of it in the last couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, it's good. It's good that you're still going at it. All right. So you're originally from France. Can you talk a little bit about your childhood and what that was like being there?
Yeah. It's, I was adopted, right? My mom, what I call my mom, is my biological aunt.
Oh, okay.
So her sister had me when she was young, I think, one fun night, and realized, like, oh shit, this is not good. But I was lucky to be adopted by her. I have no idea who my biological father is, but I had a easy childhood in essence, right? I grew up in Paris. Didn't realize where I grew up. Went back, and after I received the medal, the French press put a story from the ghetto of Paris to the White House. I remember reading that storyline. I was like, a headline. I was like, nah, man, that's bullshit. Like, I wasn't born in the ghetto. And oh yeah, I went back, and you kind of like steel doors, and you're building metal bars in the windows. Right, kind of just your stereotypical ghetto, but it didn't feel that way. Right, it was home. I had everything I ever needed. I spent a lot of time outside. Yeah, I got into fights here and there, but that's just to me that was just childhood. But I felt like I got really lucky that my mom met Larry, because he gave me this whole new perspective of life. And we talk about this at times, which is if I would have stayed in that environment, I mean, there's a 50% chance you end up, being a shitbag, right? And at times I was kind of going that route, getting to wrong crowds and picking fights with the wrong folks. But he took me out, right? And when we came here in the States, we did that first trip in Chicago. And then a couple years later, he asked me if, and my mom, if we wanted to move to the States. It took me like less than 90 seconds to say yeah.
Yeah. How did they meet?
That's a great story. So she was dating some guy, and my mom was dating her aunt was dating some guy, and my mom was dating another guy, and so that's another sister when I say aunt. Yeah. That's confusing. Yeah. And my aunt Didi called my adopted mom and said, hey, I'm going out on a date in Paris with this American. Don't really know him. I'd love for you to come on a double date. And so she brought her guy, my mom, adopted mom, and they went on a double date, and they switched by the end of that night.
No shit.
No kidding. Yeah, they switched. Yeah. And so
that's a fucking trip.
It's just like crazy, right? It was like she didn't want to go on that date, and she went. She brought the guy she was seeing, and then they both switched. And
was he just in Paris for some reason?
Yeah, business. He worked for Motorola. Which, by the way, the dude is. We could do a whole episode on him. Like I got to go work in a case officer world after the Army. During the Army and after the Army. I know for a fact that either he did that for a living and his job was a cover, or he was an asset, because his storylines just don't fit normal business people. And I'm in business now, and I know for sure his storylines don't fit. But he was doing a lot of business overseas, and so he was there in Paris at the time trying to do a deal. Probably he spent like a couple months a year there, so it was easy for him to date.
Did the did the other date swap relationship work out?
Yeah, it worked out for a while.
Yeah.
But all good things have to come to an end sometimes.
Dude, that's a fucking trip, man. By the end of the night, they're just like, hey, why don't you guys fucking?
I mean, I don't know how that happens. Like, I've been on I've had some my fun. It's never happened that way, and it's kind of odd, but
yeah, that is.
I guess she was young. She was 20. She was 28. So she was like in her prime at that moment.
So when you first, well, actually, before I ask you that, are there any kids that you grew up with in Paris that you still keep in touch with?
No, that's really. There's two guys I'd love to get back with and figure out what they're doing in their lives. But unfortunately, right, you didn't have the Facebooks, you didn't have all that stuff to stay in touch with people. And one was Gregory and the other one was Carlos. And Carlos was my best friend growing up. Portuguese kid, just so freaking smart, always smart. Like the first guy, like, when you do a math problem, he'd know the answer. Even everything about this kid was awesome, but none of them. I think it's just weird. Like I disconnected so fast. And it's kind of sad too.
Yeah. So the first time you came to the States, you were about 7, you said, in Chicago. And then how long between then and when you actually moved over here?
I was 11 when I moved here, about to be 12.
Yeah.
So,
and where did you move to first?
Valentine, Illinois, just outside of Chicago.
What was the culture shock like going from Paris to junior high in fucking a suburb of Chicago?
Oh, it was just it was wild, man.
Yeah.
I didn't speak the language. I didn't speak English
at all.
No.
Yeah.
And you come here, and I live in a called Sardine apartment, right? A tight little apartment, and now we're in a townhome. I thought it was a mansion, and there's just cars everywhere. And you walk everywhere in Paris. You take public transportation. Leave these neighborhoods. I was so confused. I didn't know where to go. Like going from like my dad would be like, you need to go outside and go make friends, go to the pool. So I was like, a pool, right? Like that was a trip. When I went to France, like when we went to the pool, we did that a couple times a year. That's like going to an amusement park almost, right?
Yeah.
Like that's just, we didn't have a real pool like you see pools here where I grew up.
Did you show up in a Speedo?
No, I think I had the boxers, but I sure as hell did not speak the language. And I went by myself. He gave me the card, and then he told me, just gave me directions how to get there, and just show him the card, and then go jump in the pool and make friends. And I was like, okay, and I did that. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure like people were making fun of me, and I thought I was a weird like immigrant kid. I didn't speak the language, but I thought I made friends, which was all right.
Yeah,
but it was everything was different, right? From the language to the food. I went to we moved from Illinois to Maryland, and I went to the French International School, and that's where I got to learn English really quick. So it was nice medium until I got kicked out. But yeah, and I was in I did my 8th grade at Tilden Middle School, and I was in English as a second language that year. And again, I didn't I have very, very weak English, but it was funny because all my English course was in ESOL, but then I was with everybody else in history, math, all those courses, science. And to this day, I don't know how I made it through that year. Like I don't know how I actually passed my classes. Yeah, but I did. So that worked out.
Was there any other food minus the PB&J that at first when you came here, like what the fuck is this, that you ended up liking?
Probably no, not really. Like I liked American food, and it was pretty simple, right? I think what I fell in love with was barbecue. I was like, holy crap, this is like delicious, right? So steaks and stuff. Like I didn't really eat many steaks in France. It's just not but coming here, but what I didn't like was the mix of sweet and salty stuff, like that people like to go do, and even the drinks, right? Like it's just kind of like every time you start mixing those two, to me, it kind of freaks me out a little bit.
Yeah. Is there a classic example of that?
I was just thinking in my head, trying to think of like a classic example. I can't think of one right now, but I'll think about it. Yeah. I just know like it's one of my pet peeves. Yeah. But we'll figure it out.
So, so you're getting integrated. You go to, a specific school that does both languages, that helps out until you get kicked out. What did you get kicked out for, and then where did you ultimately go? Just to public school, or? Yeah,
I went to a public school. I got kicked out because my teacher made some racist comment about Arabs, and so I have North African blood. And my uncle had just been killed by a terrorist organization called the GIA, and he was Muslim. So half my family is Lutheran, the other half is Muslim, which is super fascinating. My mom and many of my other family members are almost, they're like very religious, but they don't follow the rules. Like they eat pork, they smoke cigarettes, they drink alcohol, and all that stuff. A lot of people do that in the world. But my uncle was really religious. He was a preacher of the Muslim faith of Islam, and he was an imam, and he was one of my favorite people in the world. And so when the GIA came into Algeria in late 1980s, early 1990s, he was young. He was like 19. 20, and he had just passed all his religious schools, and he was becoming an imam, and he saw that they were coming in and perverting Islam to him, right, and bringing radical Islam and stuff, and so he decided to put his book down and join the army. Crazy is that he actually became a commando up there. He had an opportunity to come in the States, go to Fort Bragg, do some training up there, and went back and fought them. And he told my grandfather, who was a French-Vietnam War veteran and prisoner of war, and then one of the catalysts for the independence of Algeria against the French. He told him, he's like, listen, like the beauty about the Quran and what I believe in is that you can be whoever you want. It's a peaceful religion, and so like if you want to go smoke cigarettes and do your thing, it's okay. Like go do your thing. And the fact that these people are telling us how to dress, what to do, what to eat, how to pray and stuff is wrong. And so he fought, and he was killed during a ceasefire in 1996.
In Algeria? Or? In
Algeria, yeah. He was shot in the heart during a ceasefire to observe Ramadan, of all things.
Oh.
Right? And he was beheaded, dismembered, put in a box, sent to my grandfather as a warning. And my grandfather's really well known in Algeria for what he's done. And so they felt that potential would scare them, would terrorize them, typical terrorist tactics. And no, I didn't do that. Instead, it pissed a lot of my family off, and more went into fight against them, and obviously it created me. That was my foundation of understanding evil. I wanted to go destroy that and eradicate that. But that was a really bad timing for that teacher to say something about Arabs, and what I'll never forget it was I read in this English paper, and I got 100 out of 100 on it, and she accused me of cheating. And then she said, well, all Arabs are cheaters anyway. I mean, what teacher says this? And me associating myself as a Lutheran at the time and things like that was just like, but understanding my family background, I just took a desk and threw it at the teacher. Of course, missed the teacher, but I was thrown out. Yeah. But my mom, being the crazy person that she is, went in and was like, "Oh, you want to play this game? It's cool. Let me go out there and destroy the reputation this school brings all these, parent diplomats and stuff, and put their kids in this school. And you want to be known as a racist school? Let's go." So finally, they in my record, they just said I left. Yeah. But I didn't have a chance to stay, and so I went to Tilden Middle School right after that in Bethesda, Maryland, and best thing that ever happened.
Yeah. So did your family move there?
To Maryland?
To Maryland from there? Was it by coincidence or because
of that? My dad's were in Chicago and work. Okay. He was, they put him at the D.C. office, okay. So he transitioned up there.
Just timeline-wise, it just kind of worked out.
Just kind of worked out.
And Maryland contrasted to Chicago. What were your takeaways from that?
Really, like same thing, because we went to, we moved to an apartment in Rockville at the time. And so that felt more comfortable to me because, going to townhome was a little big, and going from a little apartment to a townhome. So we went to a 2-bedroom apartment. We lived there for almost throughout high school, so my senior year. And I don't know, just thought it was easy. Loved it. Walked to school, so I felt like I was back in Europe when I was walked to school. Made a lot of friends really quickly. Was a really good soccer player. So that helped, right? Being good at sports is usually a good way to make friends, and especially in the States. And also did judo my entire life. So was used to be national champion in France.
Oh, no
so
shit.
I came here and did judo, so I made a lot of friends doing that. So that was cool. But I thought it was a pretty easy transition. And when you're forced when you're put in an environment, you're forced to speak the language, which is what happened in going to a public school here. My English picked up really quickly.
Yeah, I was just going to ask, at what point did you feel like your English was at a point where you were fluent enough to where you felt pretty natural speaking. It was about then.
Well, 8th grade I was in regular English. In 10th grade I was in honors English.
Oh wow.
Yeah, in high school. So it just picked up really quickly.
Yeah. Do you still do judo at all?
No.
Any jiu-jitsu or anything?
No. I fake box. So I go to
Taibo or what?
No, I just box. I go to title boxing in Frisco, and I'm actually trained right now by George and Alex Rincon, and I go through their train. I say go to their classes, and they're both Golden Boys guys. Both undefeated right now. So, but I stopped judo probably junior year high school. The competition wasn't what I liked here. It just. Listen, it took me forever to get my belt and black. And in France, you can't just get black belt by the time you're 12 years old. It just doesn't work that way. Or maybe it didn't at the time. It was like every year, every 6 months, you qualified for the next belt, and then you had notches and stuff. So before you got from white to yellow, you had white and yellow, and then yellow, and then so on and so forth. And when I came here, I think I was a green belt, maybe I wasn't even a blue belt, right? And I was fighting kids who were black belts, like as a 13-year-old. I thought it was fascinating. Yeah, I think I was a brown belt, and I would smoke them. Mm-hmm. I mean, I never lost a fight in the U.S., never. Yeah. And in France, I was always number 2, except for the national championship. I never beat this one kid for years. That guy just had my number. He was faster, stronger, and better. And I beat him in a national championship right before I moved. Just because he made a classic mistake. He rushed me. He'd beaten me like probably 50 times. And so, and he rushed me in a national championship, and I got to, I hip checked him and flipped him and won. Yeah. And then I left the country. So that was awesome.
Yeah, that's cool.
But so I stopped here, and I just really focus on soccer, and then I really focus on track.
Yeah. What track did you run, or what events did you run?
Anything from a mile up. Yeah. So I was in college. I was a mile or 2 mile. I ran the 5K and 10K occasionally, but
fastest mile time. Do you remember?
Equivalent of a 4:04, 4:05. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Pretty quick.
For the 450, you mean, or like for the mile?
For a mile. Yeah.
4 minutes and what?
4 seconds, 5 seconds. Yeah. 4:04, 4:05.
Oh, like 4:05.
Yeah.
Oh no shit. God damn. Almost sub 4, huh?
Not there though.
Yeah, not quite.
Yeah, I think the drinking and not sleeping and partying and just.
405 still has to be. I mean, it's got to be in the top fraction of a percentage, even in by track standards, though, right? I mean,
it is in overall, but it's not in competition, not in the NCAAs.
I got you.
You don't even qualify to NCAAs with that. You're not even close to it. These kids are so. And by the way, now that's garbage. Like these kids are sub 4 minutes in high school, like no problem. It's unbelievable.
Crazy. All right. So at what point in high school did you decide, I think joining the Army is the way I want to go? And what was the catalyst for that?
I knew I wanted to join the military after my uncle was killed. My dad was a Vietnam guy. My grandfather, I told you about, my uncle, males just joined the military. And so I knew that was going to be my path. Just didn't know how. And I became naturalized as a U.S. citizen in 2001, in February 2001, and 7 months later, 9/11 happened. The same type of assholes, that terrorized my mom's country and killed my uncle. And so I knew at that point that was just like that was it. And my dad being in the Army just made sense. And so, I think probably watching Saving Private Ryan and Rangers also made sense.
Yeah.
I knew that I wanted to go join, and that became sort of my path, and it was liberating. Yeah. I was a freshman in college when 9/11 happened, and I wanted to drop out of school and go join. And my father, sort of taught me one thing. He's like, when you start something, finish it, because if you find a reason to quit, you're always going to find a reason to quit everything else. And so we decided to go, to make that decision to stay in school, and it was difficult at times, but in hindsight, this best thing I could have done.
Yeah. And so did you go to the University of Maryland in a ROTC kind of thing, or what?
So when I was at Maryland, I started to do ROTC, and it lasted about a month because it was impossible to be a Division I, collegiate athlete, go to school, and also work, right? Because we're not football. You don't get scholarships like football or basketball, right? So like I had, you get a little piece, but maybe books and stuff, but I had to pay my own way through college. So even though I was a number, 2, 3 in a mile in the state of Maryland in my time and all that stuff, like it wasn't good enough. So
you were a better track athlete than soccer player as far as college was concerned?
Yeah, I guess I was. That was a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, soccer's my sport. And they're like, no, it's like Happy Gilmore with hockey and golf, right?
I was a really good soccer player. Really, really good soccer player. It shows how a lot better. And my soccer dreams kind of ended when I was a sophomore, when I realized when I went in for a recruiting visit and told me I'd have to sit the first 2 years in college because people are, better. And French soccer and U.S. soccer is very different. French soccer, it's a lot more about, technique and being able to, be a team player and control the ball. What I realized in the U.S. is a lot more physical. Like we bring physical to soccer. Yeah. So like I was football. Really fast and good, but man, and I was small too at the time. I'd get crushed. You get this 5'10", when you're 5'2", guy who comes in and just absolutely, he didn't give a shit about the ball. He took my body out. Like he thought we were playing a mix of soccer, rugby, and American football. Yeah. So I learned a lot about the physicality of the sport here in college. It's pretty physical. Mm-hmm. So I remember that coach telling me like, your ability to play with both feet across your speed is great, but you're going to need to grow into your body a little bit and just got to make you stronger. And so we're going to redshirt you and then we'll sit you second year. It was like you follow through the program, you'll be a professional soccer player. You have your shot. And as a 15, 16-year-old, all I heard in this whole speech was, you're sitting me for 2 years. Yeah. And I just thought I was just stupid. And then I got pretty good at track and I fell in love with it. So it just worked out. Yeah.
All right, so you go to Maryland. Did you stop running track to focus on school and your job, or did you still do or you dropped out ROTC?
So I didn't, it's not even dropping out. Like I went in and early on I was like, this is not for me. And actually they told me that. They're like, hey, like well, I didn't know. Like I didn't know how to join the Army at the time. So my instructor was like, hey, like you're a pretty good runner. Because the first time I went into a PT test, I'll never forget this. They thought I missed a lap because I ran a 9:15 2-mile right around the track. Yeah. I mean, the closest person was like 14 minutes at the top. So you're almost 5 minutes in front of everybody. And so they're like, holy crap, like, did you miss a lap? I was like, no, I'm a runner. Like, I run here. I run for the school. Like, that's what I do. And I remember talking to my instructor and he said, listen, there's this thing called OCS. Or you can go enlisted, but there's this thing called OCS. Like you're going to school, you're running track, you have 2 practices a day, and you travel on the weekends, which is going to be a conflict with some of our training, and you're working. I was working 20 hours a week. I worked I did every job you can think of because I was trying to pay my bills, like my food and stuff. And so he's like, it's just not smart for you to do this. Like you graduate and go OCS. And he explained to me OCS. I was like, oh, that sounds like a really good plan. That's the route that we decided to go.
Yeah. And overall, what was that experience like?
Which one?
OCS.
So OCS was easy because, I mean, nothing in the military is hard except once you understand and you accept your faith, right? Yeah. Whether it's buds for you guys, which by the way, I never would have. I don't like water. Yeah. Like I sure as hell don't like the ocean. Yeah. So people are like, could you have made it to Buzz? Like, no, absolutely not. I would have rang that bell before I got there. Like that's just that would have broken every rule my dad taught me, and I would have rang that bell. It's just not for me. I like being on Earth, right? Or I like to jump, but I like hard ground. Yeah. But no, nothing. OCS wasn't hard. Basic was before that was I loved it. I was the first one up in the morning. People used to hate me because every morning was an opportunity to get closer to my goal. Yeah. And I wanted to go to war. Like I knew what I wanted. And so my end state wasn't to graduate, basic and officer. My end state was to get to Afghanistan and Iraq and play my part. So like every day was a day closer to that. And so I was fired up. And I had the best PT score in the entire company because I could run. Which, by the way, the one I ran my first 2 mile there too was interesting But I could do push-ups. I could do sit-ups. I was strong, right? I didn't come in just as a runner. I came in as an athlete. And I used that to my advantage. And I really paved the way for my early success in the military, because if you demonstrate you're capable of beating almost everybody on a physical test, and then you're not a dumbass, your people are going to want to work with you.
Yeah.
And so I did that. And then when I went to OCS, same thing, right? I got my hundreds or 95% on my history test, but I was also the best PT guy in the entire group. So when I went down to the choosing your career path, and you compete, order a merit list, right? So you had 200 people, X amount of spots in each profession. So you compete. And so went to week 6 was when I got to pick my job. I was number 2 in the order merit list. I don't know how the hell that guy beat me, but he was just a little bit smarter than I was. And so I got to pick infantry, right? And so every day in all those courses, I didn't care about graduating that course. I cared about getting through that next day successfully and learning something, because I knew the end state was I was going to go out there in Afghanistan or Iraq and play that part. And so that drove me. The hardest school I went to, obviously, is Ranger School. And that's just because it just beats you up. It's just long. And
did the calorie restriction fuck with you, or was it not that bad?
Brother, I'm not a big dude.
Yeah.
I'm 175 pounds right now. I was 175 pounds as a 27-year-old, and I went in, however old I was, 26, and I came out 136 or 37 pounds.
God damn.
In 62 days. I went straight through, luckily, but I dropped almost 30 pounds in 2 months, and that's just not healthy.
No, I know it. I mean, that shit would have killed me at that age. I lost 26 pounds in 5 days in SEER school when I was 19. I mean, my metabolism back in my 20s was absurd. But so the progression was from OCS right to what? Can you give me kind of the chronological?
So you do OCS, you graduate. So I went to basic and graduated in, I think, September and then I went to Officer Candidate School in 2008, graduated December 4th. And it took about 5 weeks before I started basic officer leadership course, this 6 weeks course. I don't know if they still do it. Maybe you still do it. That was interesting. Like didn't matter what your MOS was. All the officers, like, you get broken up and you go into the school, and it just gives you like some whatever. I don't remember what we learned. Land nav, I guess, again, whatever. And then I went to 13 weeks of officer infantry leadership course. So infantry officers, you graduate that. That was fun. That was like the first really course where I was excited about, because you're supposed to learn your trade, and everyone's the same, right? You're all infantry officers, so you're competing against these folks, but you're learning from these folks as well. So it was really awesome. Learn how to really learn the op order process there and things like that, battle tactics and how to lead. Graduated that and went to airborne school. I did not know I was afraid of heights till airborne school. I really didn't. It never crossed my mind. And when they'll kick you out of that,
Was it the tower first, or was it the plane? Because that 34-foot tower fucks with a lot of people.
It wasn't even a tower. It was like the first week when you jump off those boxes and stuff, and and I was like, damn, this is stupid. Like, I don't like this. And then the tower didn't help, but it was the first time I got in that plane.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of it is just I always felt like those planes are going to crash.
Yeah. Well, it's better to jump out then, I guess.
Yeah, no kidding. So that's what I convinced myself. But it was the first, like, you do your 5 jumps and you're a 5-jump champ and you get out, it was fun. And then after that was Ranger School.
Yeah. To kind of synopsize Ranger School, in your words, I guess, what did you take from it? Because it seems like most people say, it's a leadership school and it's tough, whatever. But was there anything that you kind of took away that encapsulated the entire experience? A
reality check of who you are.
Yeah.
That's what it is for me. You learn a lot about, who you are as an individual, the way you lead, the way you follow. If you're a shitbag and, behind closed doors, no one knows, but you start to really understand who you are. Like, it's a mirror in essence of who you are as a warrior and as a person. What are you going to do when no one's watching? Are you going to take that knee or are you going to, put your ruck down and go to sleep for 15 minutes? Are you going to stay awake in your foxhole and pull security, or you're You know the RIs over there. You're gonna take that snooze for 5 minutes. Are you gonna fuck your battle buddy who's in a leadership position because you're hungry and tired? You learn a lot about those little things. Take aside the patrol. Take aside like the whole thing. Like you learn a lot about yourself. And then those peer reviews. That's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Yeah, I love the peer review system.
Shit, man. People, and when you're hungry, you're tired. The way they do it too, right? You come right out of the field, boom, peer review. So like if you're shitbag for the last 2 weeks, people are going to be very honest about that. And so you learn a lot about you. And my peer reviews were good, but not, there were some improves, right? Like, and you read this, you're like, damn, that's okay. That's how they perceive me. Wow. Okay. Well, I'm that guy right now. Okay, cool. Let me be better. And so the way I looked at it was from, Darby to Dahlonega and Mountain Face to Florida. One of my goals was obviously to graduate, but to be a better teammate.
Yeah.
And so that school, they call it a leadership school because of that, because you're supposed to motivate folks and to follow you in some dire situations, unrealistic situations a lot of the time. But to me, it's a mirror of who you are as a leader. And there's two possible outcomes. One, you can be honest with yourself, learn from it and become better. Or two, you can, just quit on yourself and be a shitbag for the rest of your career.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it's a brilliant school. I haven't been, but I know tons of people that have gone and they all speak pretty highly of it. Is there a single point that you took away about yourself from Ranger School?
Yeah. One, well, there's two. One, I'm a hungry Ranger. So you put me in a situation where, like we got death march, and they gave us 25 minutes to either eat our MRE or go to sleep. There was no choice for me. I ate.
Yeah.
Probably because I was losing so much weight and I needed calories. But so I'm a hungry Ranger. And two, I learned that I was too quick to judge. And you can be successful leader if you're too quick to judge.
Yeah.
And so that's where I really learned about my ego and to put that aside.
Yeah.
Because the guy that really helped me in that course was PFC Likens, probably in Delta right now. His dad was Delta, and he was a Ranger boy, and he was 19, 20 years old, whatever he was, and he was just so much more advanced than I was already at that time, and how to set up a support by fire and sectors of fires and all that stuff. And I learned to take my my pride, my ego, and being older than him and stuff, but that to the side and learn from him. Yeah. And I took that, that school really reminded me and taught me how to do it, and that helped my career tremendously.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. Was there a hardest part about Ranger School for you?
Yeah, it was carrying a weight.
Yeah.
I wanted to quit so bad, and I actually tried it. I had set my mind I was going to quit in Georgia. I just the physicality of it at a certain point really gets to you, and it was unlucky. Like we went in August, September, and in September it was just like it rained for a week. So climbing those mountains in the mud just sucked. And I think it got to me a little bit, and I wanted to quit. And one of the guys, one of my teammates, fucking hated him actually for forever, Gallardo, Silver Star recipient, Sal Junta, squad leader for a guy that first guy received the Medal of Honor alive and since Vietnam. That was his squad leader, and he was in my Ranger class.
Oh wow!
And he saw me. I'll never forget this. He saw me in the long guy. He told me on one of those days, and he said to me, he's like, "You good, man?" I was like, and I told him I was honest. I was like, I'm kind of broken. I feel broken. And he's like, "Yeah, me too." And I remember like looking at him, being like, "You're Gallardo. Like every RI here, I don't know what you've done, but they all love you. Like they treat you like you're a freaking superstar, and like you get away with everything. So like that's a little odd to me." And then he said, I'll never forget what he said. He's like, "Hey, how about this? Tomorrow, when we wake up, we'll quit together." I was like, shit, Gallardo sent that to me? I was like, all right, cool. And the next morning, I woke up and a little bit of sunshine. And I'd forgotten about that conversation, right? Because every day I just kind of woke up and I just went through my thing. By the end of the day, I'm like, I'm quitting tomorrow. And he came up to me. He's like, you ready to quit? And I didn't say a word. I kind of looked at him. I was like, is he serious? Like, this is serious? And he looked at me and he said, one more day? I was like, yeah, one more day. The next day he came up to me. He's like, you ready to quit? And I was like, no, one more day. He's like, one more day. And third day he came up to me. He's like, you ready to quit? And I was like, no. He's like, good. Get that fucking word out of your mind, right?
Oh, shit.
And he taught me a massive lesson there. Everyone goes through the suck, right? We all feel the same way. We all have moments where like, this is not for me. Or like, why did I decide to do this? And instead of him like chastising me and calling me weak and stuff, he taught me a lesson by being a good leader. And he brought me into his world.
Yeah.
And then he made me realize that, hey, vulnerability is cool. Just don't go to the extreme of quitting on all of us.
Yeah.
And so big lesson there. Obviously got through it.
Yeah.
And we're good friends now. Still didn't like him after that for a while.
That's such a great story. I love it. Man, that's powerful. Did you have a favorite Ranger dessert that you made with your MREs?
So yeah, man, it was a milkshake. Like I just love when I got lucky. I think the pesto cavatappi had the milkshake, and dude, I used to crush that.
Yeah.
But
how is that made?
Well, it was powder, water, and that's it.
Is it the cocoa mix and?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I'm a vanilla guy, so it was perfect. I didn't mess around.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite thing was like people would like heat their meals, right? And I would heat the water and use that to shave.
Oh, no shit.
I'd eat everything cold, man.
No shit. You just couldn't get it fast enough.
The Chef Boyardee cans, Chef Boyardee cans since I was a kid.
Yeah.
In college, just pop them open and like the ravioli, eat cold. So like I had no issue eating my food cold.
Yeah.
But I would like, every time I got the opportunity, I would take that, boil that, and be like, today it's my spa day.
That's a classic officer story right there.
Hell yeah, man. Listen, they used to crush me when I was at my unit, and we'd go out in the field. And I brought this little pillow, and this is after my first tour. All right, and I brought this little pillow, and we just go crash out, and I bring a pillow, and all these my soldiers be like, "Whoa, this is weak shit, sir." Yeah. I told him, I was like, I learned one thing in Ranger School. Yeah. If I don't have to be uncomfortable, I'm not going to be uncomfortable. I am not here. I'm not in a hard ass trying to competition where I'm trying to be the toughest dude in the world.
Yeah.
No matter what, there's always going to be someone way tougher than me. Yeah. So I'm going to enjoy my sleep. And tomorrow I'm going to wake up fired up. So yeah, I'm carrying that little pillow that weighs nothing. Yeah. And hey, I own it.
Yeah, I love it.
Man.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm the same way. People are like, oh, I bet you love fucking, kicking yourself in the nuts. I'm like, no, I don't. Like, I don't like getting in the fucking water. I don't like being on fucking boats. I'm not all about glamping either. Like if I'm in a camp, I like to actually camp, but I'm still going to bring the appropriate shit that keeps me comfortable. Like I'm not going to lay in the fucking rain and freeze my dick off for no reason.
Yep, I told you the same way.
All right, so you go to your unit. You find yourself in Afghanistan shortly thereafter. How was that first deployment?
It was interesting. It was good. It was good because that's when I became a soldier. Yeah. Obviously, right? I think trial by fire is a good way. I went in with a lot of questions for myself, and probably the top question for me was, who am I going to be in a firefight? I don't care what anyone says they are, who they think they are. You don't know until that first bomb blows up or those first rounds go by your head or at your feet or whatever. And so I always wondered. I expected me to be, tough and being able to react the way I wanted to react, and I was lucky I was.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of never. Sergeant Molden told me this about 2 months into my deployment, because I came in, they were already there. He said, "You're like a serial killer." That's what he said to me, and I thought that was one of the weirdest comment anyone's ever made to me, and didn't really appreciate it. And he said, "You're cool, calm, collected under fire, and it doesn't faze you when rounds go by and things blow up. You're still like you're thinking right." And he's like, "You're not scared." I was like, "I'm petrified, bro. Like, I'm scared shitless. And I'm not scared of dying. I'm scared of making the wrong decisions. But in the end, you make decisions. That's what you thought. You just got to go with your gut instinct. You trust your training and all that stuff, and you go with it. And so I never saw the need for me to freak out on the radio, right?
Yeah. And
I had the most calm platoon sergeant you could ever meet. This dude was, was tactical and all that stuff. And And so I didn't want to be that crazy dude on the radio. So I would work on that. You know, I knew it. But I never been, I guess like, I never had this like fear in a firefights. And I've had rounds, you know, go right next to me, bombs, all that stuff. And, you know, every time what it would do to me was it would kick in my adrenaline. And it kind of got me excited. Weirdly, right? It was just, I love that shit. And so I knew at that point, like, I was meant to do this. And I knew at that point that I was going to be a decent leader because it didn't impact my decision making. Instead, it made me sharper. Mm-hmm. So that was good to know. But I was really scared that I would be the guy that would freak out. Like, I really was. Like, I went in, I was like, am I going to be that guy that, like, as soon as shit goes up, I'm like, I think I'm tough, but I'm like weak as hell. So that was a really good experience early on. But, you know, I went in with guys that have been in combat already, and it's really difficult to really explain how it feels to go into a platoon as a young leader where people don't really like the new lieutenant already and in the middle of the deployment, and to know that 19-year-old is a hell of a lot more combat experience than you do. Yeah. And you're supposed to go out there and tell them what to do. Yeah. So that's when I took that pride, that ego and that rank, and I put them to the side. And the first thing I did when I got to my unit was I went to my platoon sergeant, first class Corey Staley, and I told him, "Hey man, I'm Lieutenant Groberg." And first thing he said to me is like, "I can read your name tag, sir." I was like, God, killing me. And then I told him, I was like, "Listen, I'm obviously new LT. I'm here. The sole purpose in my life is to make sure that everyone comes home and we accomplish a mission. And I can't do that without you. So I'm taking my pride, my rank, my ego, put them to the side. And I'm asking you, man and man, for your support, your mentorship, your guidance, to make sure I'm the right leader, but most importantly, the most effective leader. And so I'm going to lead to learn from you, but I'm here to make decisions too. I'm not afraid to make decisions, but I need you to guide me in the right direction if you see me, you know, do some dumb shit." And that shocked them. Right, Corey was kind of like, you know, years later, it's kind of like, I think that shocked him a little bit because you don't expect that for you expect the ego coming in. Like, yeah,
that's how most young officers are, you know.
Yeah, and that's
peacock like, feathers and fucking attitude.
Yeah, and it's not. It doesn't come from a wrong place. It's just like excitement usually, and like you get fired up to become a leader, and they tell you you're a leader now, and they put those Ranger tab on you. They give you, you know, that title, and you come in like, I'm supposed to do this. To me, it was like, no, fuck that, man. My job is to, you know, make sure they don't die because of my decision making. Yeah. And I needed that help. And so it worked out really well with him and I.
Is there any aspect of OCS and beyond where that's communicated to you guys to be that way when you show up?
It's not, never, but it is in the background because in OCS, you come in and you become, you know, you earn the right to call yourself an officer, right? But you're mixed in with a bunch of prior enlisted. Yeah. And so if you pay attention to your environment, if you're curious, if you want to learn and grow outside of the, you know, school curriculum, you're going to learn those lessons really quickly.
Yeah. To me, I guess that should be like lead bullet point at a school like that, you know, given the fact that so few young officers when they show up are that way. You know, that would be something that I think should be revised within that, in that program, because I think, you know, that is such a sticking point with those young guys because they're not stupid. You know, they know what they've been through, and they see, you know, any young O's show up. And, you know, to me, as you, I think have proven, is that when you show up with that attitude, like, it just makes a more cohesive unit, and they automatically trust you off the bat. Whereas if you know, show up and slap your dick on the counter, like, then they're going to be like, fuck this guy, you know? So to me, it's just from an efficacy standpoint, it seems like it would be far more effective if they spent a little more time teaching that in the course. But
well, I'm going to correct you on one thing. As sure as I don't trust you right away.
Well,
you know this.
It's closer to it, though.
Yes,
like
100%.
They're more open-minded to trusting you.
But I did something a little bit extra. When we talked at the end of that conversation, I told him everything that we just chatted about what our game plan. Like, the game plan was like, I need you to shut up for the next 7 days. So he said to me, and like, watch and listen, right? And we're going to go on patrol. We're going to get hit. Watch the way we react to contact, the way we communicate, and, you know, between the squads, the way we communicate back to company or battalion, how we call for fire and all that stuff, right? And then read everything about the historical battles that we've been in, and then the previous LT's comments on every key leader engagement. So like, go understand your environment, what you're gonna own, and then go talk to the guys and figure out where they're from, but don't get too close to them, right? Just show them that you care. And he's like, and he told me, I don't give a shit if you care or not, pretend that you care. Great lessons. And so as he's walking away, I was like, hey, one more thing, Sergeant. He's like, what? I said, I want to talk the plan out with the team today. I want to introduce myself. Obviously, I want to let them know what we're doing. He's like, you want to tell them everything we talked about? I was like, take aside the caring about that, because I do. So like, we don't need to bring that up. But everything else that we planned, the way we're going to be acting, is like, I sure as hell don't want to be a new lieutenant that shows up and doesn't talk for a week. Like, that I'm done. No matter what my intentions are, I'm done, because I'm weak immediately. But I also believe in being authentic and also being transparent. I've taken that from, being a team captain at Maryland to being a platoon leader to corporate America, right? Or anything I do. I am who you see. That is just me, right? To my fault. I'll die by the sword at times because that's who I am. But and he was like, okay, make your own bed. And I think that helped me a lot, because I told him exactly what we're doing. I told him, I'm green as it gets, blah, blah, blah. I mean, could have backfired, right? Because immediately that trust piece, but you fast forward about 2-3 months down the road, and you see that at that point they trusted me. They knew that I was there for them, right? That was my job, right? Accomplish the mission. I'm a firm believer that if you don't take care of your men first, you'll never accomplish a mission. You might win a couple battles, but in the end, you'll fail. But if you take care of your people and they're willing to go through a wall for you, they're willing to rush that hill when it looks like it's as most dire situation as possible, you're going to win more often than you lose. And that was just my mindset. And I knew that you're not there for fucking medals, right? Nope. No one's going to really know what you've done. Like, let's be honest, right? You're just one of thousands of platoons out there, but they're going to know. You're going to know who you were and who they were forever. Yeah. And I wanted to bring them home. And so that was, to me, it was the easiest thing to do. And I'd rather appear vulnerable at first and then demonstrate strength through actions later on.
Yeah, I love it. I think, like I said, I wish more officers, both young and seasoned, had that mentality. I want to take a minute to talk about sleep and recovery, which, as we all know, I've had a number of guests on that speak to the importance, and I know I can certainly attest to how important good sleep is, which is why I love Ghost Bed. Every mattress has a 20-year warranty. Some even have a 25. You can try it out for 101 nights. If you don't like it, you can send it back. No hard feelings. One of my favorite parts about Ghost Bed is that it has a cooling technology in it, which I can tell you from here in Texas in the summer times is crucial to not sweating your ass off at night. And so the cooling technology in conjunction with the warranty and the level of comfort really provide a one-stop shop for just a great night's sleep and a recoverful, restful sleep. Ghost Bed also offers bundles so that you can get really everything you need. You can choose from their 4 mattresses and then pick the bundle. So whether you just need a mattress and a frame or you want the whole package like the cooling pillows and sheets, you can get the best bang for your buck that way. Right now, Ghost Bed is offering 40% off the Ghost Bed bundles where you get a mattress and adjustable base. That's 40% off, or 30% off everything if you use the code MIKEDROP, all caps, all one word, at ghostbed.com/MIKEDROP. You can buy a mattress for like $35 a month. They have 0% financing, 0 down plans for up to 60 months. Again, go check out ghostbed.com/MIKEDROP, all caps, all one word. Also, if you do have an RV or a camper, be sure to check out the Ghost Bed RV mattress. You can get all foam or hybrid versions, and it's perfectly sized to fit an RV, camper, trailer, etc. And it's way better than what you're sleeping on now with any of the other aftermarket stuff out there, or damn sure what is included from whatever RV manufacturer you got it from. And again, you can get 30% off the RV mattress by using the code MIKEDROP. So one last time, that's ghostbed.com/MIKEDROP. And that code again is MIKEDROP, all capitals, all one word. One thing I know for most of the hard chargers out there that drink a lot of coffee throughout the day, is that one of the problems is anxiety, jitters, or that crash in the afternoon from drinking it. So that's why I started working with mud water. It's a coffee alternative with 4 adaptogenic mushrooms and herbs. It's got a fraction of the caffeine of a cup of coffee. So you get that same kind of energy boost and mental clarity without those jitters and anxiety and crash that you do with coffee. Each ingredient was added for a purpose. It's got cacao and chai for mood and a microdose of caffeine. It's got lion's mane for alertness, cordyceps to help support physical performance, chaga and reishi to support your immune system. It's got turmeric for soreness, and it's got cinnamon for antioxidants. It tastes great. From a favorite ingredient standpoint, I'm a big fan of the lion's mane for alertness. My day is pretty busy, and I have a lot to pay attention to and keep track of, and so that helps me out a lot. But again, there's a host of beneficial ingredients. I actually like to throw a little bit of monk fruit vanilla drops with just a little bit of heavy cream, and it gives me that kind of vanilla latte esque flavor to it. Mudwater is Whole30 approved. It's 100% USDA organic, non-GMO, gluten-free, vegan, and kosher certified. And one of the big things that I love about this company is that they donate monthly to the Berkeley Center for Science of Psychedelics, as Mudwater believes the country is in a mental health epidemic and sees psychedelics as useful tools for individuals with depression, PTSD, anxiety, and other mental health problems. That really strikes a chord with me as I see a lot of veteran communities that have benefited greatly from projects such as the Berkeley Center. So right now, Mudwater, which is mudwtr.com/Mike, to support both my show and use the code Mike for 15% off your order at Mudwater. So again, that's Mudwater, mudwtr.com/Mike. And use just Mike, all caps, MIKE, for 15% off your total order, and try these amazing products out. All right, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of meat. I eat a lot of red meat and seafood, chicken, fish, etc. But I just started working with a company called Good Ranchers, and for good reason, is that I've ordered meat from all different types of purveyors, and I really, really love this product, and I love what they do also. The biggest thing is the quality of meat is fantastic. It's an award-winning food delivery service that brings 100% American meat and seafood to your door. It's the fastest growing meat company in America. Again, it's 100% American meat. There is no foreign meat whatsoever. And they were also named the best food subscription service earlier this year. They age their beef 21 days, and it tenderizes it and gives it really, really good flavor. And I got to tell you, I am picky, very picky when it comes to meat, and I love their product and eat it exclusively now. They're offering $30 off your order plus free shipping for using the code MIKEDROP, and that's at goodranchers.com/MIKEDROP. But let me also tell you about what they're doing as an amazing project. That it gives and donates high quality meals to kids in need. August, everyone goes back to school, and they're going to help feed kids facing hunger and what you'd consider food insecurity. Good Ranchers is on a mission to donate 100,000 high quality meals to young children who often go unfed or end up malnourished from poor access to nutritious food. You can join this campaign by ordering a box of 100% American meat. Every order contributes meals to the cause and makes a huge difference in the lives and minds of these kids. To me, I'm very passionate about this. Nutrition is a huge component to kids growing up, and I love working with a company that is giving back to young kids and kind of putting their money where their mouth is and using their product to help out the next generation of kids in this country with an all-American product. So please help support this project. This is an amazing company. Again, that's goodranchers.com/MIKEDROP, and that code is MIKEDROP, all one word. Again, that's goodranchers.com/MIKEDROP. The code is MIKEDROP. You can order all different types of bundles, different packages of meat that they have. You can do subscription boxes. You can do all beef. You can do all seafood. You can do a mix. I love all their stuff, and I'm a big fan of theirs, and I'm honored to be working with them. So again, that's goodranchers.com/MIKEDROP, and the code is MIKEDROP. Was it communicated to you when you showed up, or even before you showed up, what your objectives were for that deployment, like why you guys were there on kind of the tactical ground level?
No, go kill the enemy.
Yeah,
hearts and minds.
But it wasn't like, we're in this region and this is what we're trying to accomplish. I mean, to me, that's a huge...
I guess like to an extent it was kind of like, you're in this region, we're supposed to stabilize the region. That was it. Like, the hearts and minds, right? So I guess
nice generic answer.
Yeah, stabilize the region, win hearts and minds, support the local populace and the local key leaders, and and make sure that they give you information on the Taliban, eradicate the Taliban, and kill high value targets in the area. That was it. I mean, it's just a fucking stereotype.
I think that's one of the biggest reasons why Afghanistan, as we sit here talking about it today, is as big of a mess as it still is because of that. There was not a real solidified plan as to what everybody was there for and what the objectives were. I mean, because if you think about the amount of time we spent there and contrast it to September 10th, 2001. To mid or late July fucking 2022, what's the difference? Not much.
Yeah.
And we spent 2 fucking decades there.
I'll say the only thing is the difference, and this is because I'm an optimist, always been, it's the fact that we are able to influence a part of the next future generations to see what it's like to live with, to understand freedom. So they might not understand freedom the way we understand freedom here, but they had enough interactions to see us and talk to us and stuff to know that there's something better than the shit they're given. Yeah. And so I'm hopeful that it creates the next set of like mujahideen, right, who's going to go fight the Taliban the way they were done. I wish that in hindsight we go back and we whooped the shit out of Taliban in 2001 too. I mean, dude, we eradicated them pretty much. Unfortunately, we went to Iraq, and then we focused on Iraq, and we allowed them to learn from their mistakes, and they got hell a lot stronger, to make our lives a living hell for the next 2 decades. But that's just me. It's a lot of lives lost to hold a country that's never been able to be occupied. Alexander the Great couldn't do it. Yeah. No one could do it. The Brits couldn't do it. The Russians definitely couldn't do it. Yeah. Just the way it works up there.
So I guess the burning question, looking back on it, and I know hindsight's 20/20, but do you think that the prospect of showing the subsequent generations there what freedom can be like or what is possible was worth the United States sacrifice for 2 decades?
It better be.
You hope so?
Fuck yeah, it better be.
Yeah.
It better be. It wasn't an example of what we're willing to do to anyone else. It wasn't a threat to anyone else. It better be, because if not, then that's something. This is something we'll talk about in 20, 30 years, and it's gonna either be another Vietnam, right, where history dictates and you see the outcomes, or it's just gonna be something that potentially, like, what? Holy crap! Like we created the next leader.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the one thing about Vietnam, I think it's generally or largely looked at as an abysmal failure. But look at the country now, though, on the same token, right? It's pretty westernized and a lot better off now than it was, before we showed up.
We get to influence the next generation. I'm hopeful. Like, what I'm really hopeful is that we influence a kid.
Yeah.
Let's say in 2008, that in 2040. And 2050 is going to be the next president of that country somehow, or he's going to be the next leader to remove, because he just, he was like, I remember when I grew up, this is not the way it's supposed to look like. That's my hope.
Yeah.
But again, I'm an optimist. Like a lot of my peers and my buddies are just like, it was a waste. And I can't look at it that way because I lost too many good friends there, and I just can't look at it that way.
Yeah. So. No, it's fair point for sure. And I appreciate the positive perspective on it. So with that deployment, was there anything that stuck out during that deployment operations-wise that, any stories that you are willing to share in terms of engagements that you got in that were of note?
Yeah, there were a few, right? There's one. It was just fun. I don't know how else to describe it. Like, it's fun. Like, one of them was, I'll never forget, Sergeant Richardson, was key. We were driving back from Fall Blessing, where our battalion headquarters were at, and we're going back to our company, to our COP, our outpost, and we're in these MRAPs, and I was in the second. Obviously, I was always second, right, in a formation out of 4, and corn right there, and corn season, as you know anything about Afghanistan, those areas, man, they love to hide in corn and just ambush you. And we're driving, and I'm looking at my window, and I was looking to my right side, and there's this dude with an RPG.
So you saw him?
Oh, man, he's about 50 meters. Let go. I kind of blacked out a little bit because I thought I was done. And he hit my window, just the top of my window, and it was a dud almost. It just hit and bounced up and blew up and detonate. But guess what detonated? His body. When Sergeant Richardson just absolutely smoked him with a 50 cal. And I remember thinking, like, wow, that is what a 50 cal does to a human being. And second, damn, I'm glad I'm with some professionals.
Yeah.
Because he saw, and it's, and he's on the gun, and he immediately reacted. Pop, 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 pop. I remember thinking, like, how often we've taken fire from that area. RPGs going after us, PKM, snipers, all that stuff. And that's the first time. And the second time, it was the first time. And after that happened again in August 2012, where I was just like, I think I'm done. That's the first time I was like, that's it. Like, there's no way I survived this. And you're just, it's just happened so fast. There's nothing you can do about it. You just take it. So that was an interesting one. Probably the funnest one was just day 2 at Hanukkah Miracle, where I got up in the morning, go take a piss, and you got these buckets and you have your canopy net and stuff. And there's this guy named McPhee. He was our fueler, big black dude. And I'll never forget it. I hear like a snap, right? And then right in front of me, on the wall, sniper, Dragunov, dude, he took a shot and it went right by my head as I'm pissing. And then I see this guy next to me, McPhee, just screaming, oh shit, sir, they're shooting at us. And I see his big fucking penis just floating out. And over here, like, I'm staring at his penis because I'm like, that is the biggest thing I've ever seen in my life. And he's running around with his pants down and he's screaming. And I just, and then they clicked on me. Like, oh, we're getting shot at. Like, I'm getting sniped at. So I probably should get out of there. But I remember, like, that was my second day at Hanukkah Miracle and thinking, this is going to be an interesting time. Like,
dick's so big, it's more important than gunfire.
No kidding. I was like, that is the scariest thing I've ever seen. And so that to me is like a fun one. But, we killed that guy, the sniper, eventually. And they brought the kids brought used to give them like radios and candy to just like give us some intel. And they got that rifle back. It was interesting. But no, we were in a lot of engagement. I rolled my MATV and going into Sangar in a valley where all the bad guys were. We were doing QRF, and we decided to take our vehicles in there just to get there faster instead of walking. It'll take us 4 hours to walk, and we figure if we take the vehicles, we'd get there in 20 minutes. Terrible idea. Yeah. That was another lieutenant dumb idea. Though I blame my driver a little bit, but that was still my idea. Yeah. And so here we go. We rolled this $1 million, this vehicle plus $1 million system. I had a tow system on it, and the enemy realized that we were pinned down. So they shift fire from the 3rd Platoon, Alpha Company 3rd Platoon that was pinned down that we were going to help, and they actually all maneuvered towards us. But man, this is why I love the military. You'll get a bunch of 20-year-olds, just dumbass 20-year-olds, and you put them in problem for them, they'll figure it out. They get super creative. So we brought a wrecker in, and we were able to flip the vehicle back and tow it out. So by the time the bad guys got to us, we were gone. Oh, wow. So then that allowed Alpha Company to leave. And so now the enemy's really freaking pissed. I'll never forget that day. It was like the best day of my life. They're super pissed. So they all maneuvered towards Hanukkah Miracle, and it started like lining up our COP. And we shot 12 tow missiles, lost I mean, it was just like for about 2 hours, just the biggest, most beautiful firefight ever.
Yeah.
That and from our 4 walls, and they're out there in the mountain, and they were exposing themselves, and it was just like, we couldn't believe it. It was just, it was like Christmas for us.
Back on 4th of July.
Yeah, we just absolutely, and they were so mad, and we massacred them. It was it's a good day.
What in that region, was it all Taliban guys? Was there
Chechens,
there's a mix of all kinds of different shit, huh?
Yeah.
How much of that kind of intel did you guys get or sift through after the fact? Did you guys ever do any of that, or was it you bring other people?
No, it's funny. Like, we used to intercept our comms and LLVI traffic, as we called it. And at night, that was my bedtime reading. So we'd have our translators translate our conversation. So it was really fascinating. I loved it. And so that's when you learn like who was in the area. That's when you learn that Chinese were giving them weapons. You learn all that crazy stuff, right? The way they were talking to each other, and what they were planning, and who they thought they killed, and how mad they were because like that one didn't attack and you were supposed to attack. Like, they're like kids sometimes. It's funny. Yeah. But that's when we learned that Chechens were in town. We learned Al-Qaeda, because Al-Qaeda would bring their own translators, right? And it was fascinating. Like, so here we are, we're a translator, and to communicate, Al-Qaeda would bring their own translators to communicate with these guys. They didn't speak Arabic, they spoke Dari and Pashtun. And so that Al-Qaeda was in town because they're bringing their people, and things would pick up, right? Yeah. You also learn about the A team versus the D team on the mortars. So when you kill the A team, they would bring the guys that were training in Pakistan. It'll take them a couple months, so you knew like the D team was shooting, because they would be terrible. And then finally 18 would show up, usually around summer, after the good training sessions in their camps, and come in like, okay, they're more accurate A teams here, we got to kill them, right? Yeah. It was just like really cool. Like,
was there a biggest misconception that you guys found humorous that, hearing their chatter, that they thought that was inaccurate?
They thought we had a force field around our base, yep. They really thought that. No, seriously, they thought we had a force field, because they couldn't understand why shit was not blowing up inside and we were on fire. Yeah. And one of them's like, they have a force field. They have a force field. You can't see it. He's like, stop shooting all your rounds. They have a force field. They were
like in Star Wars.
Yeah, we had, and I had the best fires guy, Lieutenant Bronze. Dude was just like wacko, like super smart and fun. And so what he did to them, I'll never forget this. It was probably, I think it was April 2010. They were walking on mortars. You could tell they were doing that. And so what he did is that he was just like, you were in a talk, and I'd just come back from patrol, and I'm in my Ranger panties and just kind of like watching them walk their mortars on us. He goes, I got it. This is going to be fun. And like, what? So he takes a smoke grenade, and he just runs outside, and he throws it on our HLZ, right, for helicopters, and walks back in. We're like, the fuck are you doing? Like, that was a waste.
Baiting them to fucking try to blow up.
So guess what? They see smoke from Maidan, the area they're at, and then you're hearing them be like, you got it. Do it again. Don't change. And they were shooting 150 meters, 200 meters outside of our base. So they've shot their entire load in that area. He kept throwing smoke grenades every time. It's like they didn't see the mortars landing to the left. Like, I mean, you should be able to see that, but they thought they were hitting us. And we walked like, dude, you're ingenious. And that's what you also realize, like, that's who you're fighting.
Yeah. No, I know it. Yeah, I mean, there's so many times that we trained with guys or just things that we came across that were just like, holy fuck, how are they even as effective as they are, On the same token, some of them are massively capable too. I mean, it's such a weird disparity between, the kind of the best they have to offer and the worst. There's a pretty big gap.
The biggest misconception is that they're weak and they're scared.
Yeah.
Because, they always run. No, that's a fighting method. That's what they do. They're good at. They're ghosts. Yeah. They hit you, they disappear, and hit you again, disappear. Yeah. Hit you again, disappear. They're patient. They're the most patient enemy you'll ever find. Yeah. They'll go weeks without, from one area not attacking you, and they'll watch you.
Yeah.
Watch you, and they'll pick their battles. And that's really hard to do because I used to tell my guys, they have nowhere to go. They don't take vacation. This is their home. So they don't have a rush to get into a firefight.
Yeah.
They'll pick the right time. And then they'll come out, and you saw what happened, in Keating and some of the other base where they really plan those attacks, and next thing you know, they're inside a wire.
Yeah.
So they're dangerous.
Yeah.
And they've been doing this for thousands of years. Mm-hmm. So that's the one thing that I never took them for granted, because like you said, there are some seasoned ones. Yeah, you have the idiots like that guy who thinks like, there's a force field and stuff. Yeah. But you have the guy that's smart, that's going to wait. He's going to pick his target. And then he'll wait. And they also knew when we switched. That's the scariest part to me. And so when you see the most of your casualties, the first 90 days, last 90 days of a year deployment. First 90 days, you're trying to learn your environment, sectors of fire, all that stuff, right? Last 90 days, it's called complacency, where you start to think about going home. You don't want to do this anymore. You're a little tired. You're not going to be, I've done this 1,000 times. I know I was going to go. And they hate you because they know they're smart like that.
Yeah. It's fascinating shit, no doubt. All right, so you come back from that deployment, and then fast forward to the next one where the operation takes place, where, or I guess if you could kind of just synopsize from when you came back and ultimately when you got into the engagement that the Medal of Honor incident takes place, what transpired between then and...
Yeah, so came back and transitioned job from platoon leader to executive officer with Alpha Company. Loved that job because I got to play so many roles. Yeah, I got to learn about logistics, right? Supply chain, all that stuff, right? People are like, oh, that sounds so boring. I'm like, no, actually super important. I knew I wasn't a logistics officer, but it was good to be an executive officer because it taught me about organization, business, base, planning and stuff, and get to see how the CO, operated and work with the battalion commanders and the other COs and all that stuff. So because I knew I was going to be in that position eventually. So I was like, I'm going to learn as much as I can. I have direct access. It was awesome. So I did that for about a year. And, we were getting, a year later, we're going back, right? I mean, I think it was like 14 months later, some of us were already back in country. And no, a little bit more than that. A little bit more now. Like 16 months later, some of us were back in country. And I got selected. There was 2 jobs I was being put in for. One was become the aide de camp for General Gonzalez. And I was selected as one of the lieutenant to compete for that job out of the 4 brigades. For 4th Brigade, I was the one lieutenant. I competed against 3 others from 3 different brigades. And I did not want that job. God, I did not want that job. And then the other one was to be, I was to be the security detachment leader for the time Colonel Mingus, so the brigade commander for the next tour. And I love the idea of that job. I got to handpick the best of the best soldiers from all the battalions, and I would protect him, travel around all the provinces in Afghanistan. So I fell in love with the idea of that job, and I competed for it, and I was selected. But then if the general would have picked me, I would have just done that, right? So I had to find a way to not be selected for that job. And the only way to do so was to be honest. And so when he brought me in for the final interview, he asked me a bunch of questions and I gave all the answers. And he said to me, did you volunteer or were you voluntold for this position? I said, permission to speak freely, sir. And he's like, dude, just talk. So I was like, I was voluntold. He's like, do you want the position? And my response was, I had to be very tactful about this because you don't want to insult him, right? My response was like, I believe that I'm the best qualified person for this position. But if you ask me for my career, whether or not this is the best opportunity for me to be the best effective future leader, I believe that deploying to Afghanistan in the capacity that Lieutenant Mingus, Colonel Mingus wants me to go in will give me exposure that is unlike any I would potentially ever get, which is combat exposure, leadership exposure, and all stuff. And he's like, God damn it, Groberg. That's a fucking great answer. And he's like, get out of my office. And I walked out and I wasn't selected. Yeah. And when we went to GRTC right before, to train for our deployment, he obviously showed up and he told Mingus he's like, this kid right here. He's like, this guy, he's tricky. Watch out. He's pretty fucking smart with words. Yeah. I like him though. He's lucky I was going to pick him, but he told me to fuck off. That's why I was like, I did not say that. I did not say that, sir. But it worked out really well because it led me to Afghanistan and to do that job. And really, the job was simple. It was a 9 to 10 month tour. At the time, they reduced our tours, and my job was to coordinate every movement for the boss. Right, so it was 5 or 6 different provinces across eastern Afghanistan, 45 different outstations, so location that we had troops or allies that he was going to go visit over the course of those, let's say 10 months. And my job was to coordinate with every unit on the ground when he was traveling, and work with the our flight line and our pilots, for his movement, and then coordinate security on the ground. So as soon as we got on the ground, I owned the security for him and the command sergeant major. And so there was a lot of coordinating and working with all the different troops and units. It was awesome. But 6-7 days a week, I got to fly in Black Hawks all around, Afghanistan. And I got to sit in some very key meetings with ambassadors, with generals and stuff. And it really gave me a perspective of what the fuck we were doing there.
Yeah.
And by the way, you asked me that question, earlier on, did you know what you were doing? I was like, no, I got to understand our purpose by being in these meetings. And I told this to Mingus. I said, sir, I wish this was disseminated back to the troops, back to those young lieutenants, because they don't know what you're trying to accomplish here. And that was really the stability of the country. And in essence, the whole thing we were doing, it was like, we're trying to train them on the military side, but also on the government side, political side, to take over their countries to get the fuck out.
Yeah.
And that was it, right? But Major General Mayville said it best. And when we were by Torkham Gate in Afghanistan, he said, we went with a mindset of we can do what we're doing in Iraq with Afghanistan. Yeah. And Iraq had a foundation. They actually had a government in place, right?
Infrastructure,
and right? Still a shitbag system. And we see what's happening, but that did not exist in Afghanistan. I mean, Eastern Afghanistan, it's all about, your province with your key leaders and their little areas and their shuras and stuff, right? They don't understand big government. They don't give a shit about big government. Yeah. So I got to do that. And it was easy deployment. We were not supposed to be, I wasn't getting into firefights every day. I wasn't a platoon leader out there going to the mountains trying to find, fix, and destroy the enemy. I was just protecting the boss he was a diplomat and a military leader, but also a diplomat. And I got to see some really cool spots. But, we were in position. We got shot at a couple times. One time they put an IED on the airfield right before we were landing, so we had to divert. Got to land at Finley Shields when, as soon as we landed, 2 minutes later, a VBID came in and there was a massive firefight there. So you still got my taste of the fun times, but it wasn't what I was doing prior until August 8th, 2012. And that changed everything. But to me, August 8th, 2012 is the exact definition of what war is. It is unfair, it's unpredictable, and evil is always lurking, and you need to be ready for that shit.
When you woke up that day, was there any spidey sense, premonition, nothing, or was it just another fucking day?
No, it was, no, I woke up that day. I remember I didn't go for a run, and I remember I walked into the talk to get my situational report and then assessment on weather and enemy, and they told me weather's good. Enemy, they took one mortar fire at where you're going, but that was weird, and we believe it was Afghan on Afghan, actually. And you're good to go. Stereotypical situation. Watch out, suicide bombers. I heard that every day. That was in Afghanistan, suicide bombers. And so I felt good. That changed as soon as we got to Forward Operating Base Fires. Everything changed. The night before, I called the leader at that base, and I said, "Hey, sir, this is." By the way, I was promoted that day. That was my promotion day. I was getting promoted to captain that day. Yeah. So I kind of woke up thinking I'm gonna have I'm fucking putting my bars on. I'm super excited, right? But the night before, August 7th, I called, and I talked to the major up there, and I said, hey, listen, this is the situation. Tomorrow, I'm wheels up 0900 from Jalalabad. I'll be wheels down 0922 at Fayez. I'm bringing 2 brigade commanders, 3 battalion commanders, 2 command sergeant majors, an Afghan general, 2 GS-15 State Department guys, one from USAID and one from State Department, my 6 security, and I'm requesting a minimum of 15 escort, which means 15 U.S. soldiers escort me from the base to where we were going, which is the Kunar Provincial Security Meeting that happened every Wednesday. And the rules were every time we left outside the wire that we had a minimum of 15 U.S. soldiers escort us, right? Because my team was designed, we were 6, my team was designed to to collapse on the principals in case of shit goes wrong, firefight, and then escort them away from the firefight. And that 15 to 20 element fights the fight to allow us to, the time to exfil. And so the guy told me, I'll never forget this on the phone. He's like, I told him all this, like who I'm bringing, what I'm requesting. He's like, yeah. We're going to walk the route 15 minutes prior. So like, I can't give you the 15, but we're going to secure it for you. I was like, this guy's crazy. So I put him on mute. I had Lieutenant Cass, and I never forget that. So he was adjutant for the boss. I said, this guy, I'm going to repeat my request. He's going to tell me to fuck off. So I unmuted him. I said, hey, Roger that, sir. I hear you, but here, I'm going to repeat to you my request. And that pissed him off, right? I was like, I really need 15 escort. He's like, don't you fucking take your boss's rank. I told you what I'm doing. Don't fucking tell me what to do and how to do my job. Hung up. I was like, damn. This is a major. Like, I was like, I'm thinking he's going to go to bed tonight and realize, oh, I'm bringing his boss's boss. I'm bringing his boss and his boss's boss. You might want to be there to receive them. You might want to make sure that you escort them yourselves. Like that's one-on-one. That's not even one-on-one. That's like, even if you had no training in your life, that probably that's the only thing you should do. And so when we landed, I was convinced that he would still be there, and he's gone, man. He took everyone.
Wow.
So that's when everything changed. At that point, I knew, I was like, fuck. We're in trouble. And the spidey senses kicked up. And I just knew, it just felt it. Like, like you say, you feel in the air, just everything, all the firefights, all the time you spend in that country, you realize, like, I don't like this. And when those kick in, shit's about to fucking go down. And so at that moment, I adjusted everything that I could. So the boss starts walking towards the gate because he wants to go to his meeting. So I took my number 2, Sergeant First Class Brink, and I said, Brian Brink, Brink, what the fuck? What you see what I'm seeing? He was like on it. He's like, yo, this is not good. And I looked at him, I said, oh, you see those 15 Afghan National Army guys by the gate smoking cigarettes? Go get our terp and our translator and get them. I want them on this patrol. I'm going to run inside Fayez and try to find any U.S. bodies. So I'm running around, and there's this kid sleeping, this fucking Sergeant O'Brien. He used to be one of my guys. So I kick him. He's like, sir, what the fuck? I'm like, yo, put your gear on. You come with me. He's probably still pissed to this day. I mean, because he lost half his butt cheek. But so he comes, he puts his gear on, and then I found a cook. Not a U.S. soldier cook, a KBR cook. And I was like, yo, can you get a weapon? He's like, shit. Sure. Dude, to this day, I don't know what happened, how he got away. He's like, so he came and joined us. And what I did is I wanted to appear bigger. So I put the 15 National Army guys, I didn't trust them, right? Because we had a green on blues. I put them up front to spread out. I changed the way we were always positioning ourselves because we would do a diamond and put the principals in a diamond. And I would have, in the back, I'd have C-Corps and Sergeant Major and stuff, following. In this case, I put C-Corps and my platoon sergeant. We're always with the Sergeant Major up front. And I told him, I want you in between the Afghan National Army and a diamond where the boss is going to be, all the officers are going to be. And I want you to control the pace because I knew that the boss liked to walk fast, but he'll never walk past a U.S. or a top U.S. soldier. So I was like, control the pace. So head on swivel, right? In the back, I was going to put C-Corps instead of putting him up front, and then Sergeant Major. So I'm telling Sergeant Major get in the diamond. He's like, fuck no. It's like, dude, we don't have enough people here. I'm the most experienced infantryman here, so I'm gonna take care of rear security. I was, you sure? Come on. He's like, yeah, Flo, I'm sure. It's like, awesome. At that point, I felt a lot more comfortable about this whole patrol because I knew that I could count on him. I didn't have to worry about Sergeant Major, so he took rear security. And I switched everything. Usually when we were in this diamond, I would be at the rear of the diamond because I wanted the responsibility to, all hell breaks loose, to grab the boss, the colonel, take him to the ground, take him to safety. In this case, because I knew something was wrong, I wanted to be at the spear to get better eyes on. So I put PFC O chart in the back, 6'3", good old Chicago boy. And I told him, you have my job now. If you see all hell breaks loose and you see me going one direction, I want you to grab the boss and go the opposite direction. Roger that, sir. Cool. And we drove on. And it was a 1,100 meter movement, short movement. And about 700 meters into it, I knew we were about to get hit. I just didn't know how. Quiet. Atmospherics were quiet. There's a reports out there about that say that it was normal. Fuck that. It was quiet. There's no kids, nothing in the street. Toyota Corolla started following us. As soon as we got out of the wire, had my guy in the back turn around, raise his rifle, and tell him, to stop the vehicle. And as we were about to cross a bridge there's a little bridge to cross before we make our right up the stairs to go to the compound. So it's almost fatal tunnel, right? That's when they came at us with motorcycles. I think a couple of things happened that saved the whole team. People say it's me because of my actions. No, it's one, the Afghan National Army guy who immediately saw the threat, and he stopped the patrol right there. As soon as the motorcycle started coming, and he raised his rifle and started pointing at them. So for that guy, I'm always going to be grateful for him, because he forced them to like deviate from their plan, and then they actually lost control, got off their bike and started running, which stopped us. And at that point, we all knew something was about to happen. We just didn't know what exactly. When that happened, my platoon sergeant I put up front turned around to look at me to tell me, hey, something's wrong. And as he's turning around to look at me, he starts looking to my left. And then he's staring. So I look at his eyes, forced me to look to my left. And that's when I saw this kid that came out of this structure to our left. I was like, oh, crap. First initial thought was, is he mentally challenged? Because we had those issues where, like, mentally challenged, they come into your patrol, they're like, really, what? But then about half a second later, I was like, nope, threat. So immediately, I left my position and started going towards him. He was walking backwards, like really weird, like looking at us parallel to us, right? Then he did a 180-degree turn and then another 180-degree turn, and boom, came towards us. And I was already going towards him. Creepiest thing ever is the fact that he never looked at me. So I'm staring at him, screaming, cursing at him, sprinting towards him at that point. The exact same moment, Ochart grabbed the boss and started going the opposite direction of me. And so when I got to him, I hit him with my rifle across the chest. Realized that he was wearing something. Let go of my rifle that was slung to my kit. Grabbed it. That's when I knew he was wearing a suicide vest. Turned around, bomb, right? My Sergeant Mahoney, my RTO, was following me. Probably thought like LT, is about to get himself in a stupid position. Let me go save his ass, as always. So he's with me. And I'm saying bomb. And the only thing I could think of at that moment was I got to get him away from everybody as quickly as possible, as far away as possible. So I started dragging him, and I threw him. And Mahoney followed me and like was trying to, as I'm throwing him, he's trying to help me push him down, right? And he landed chest first on the ground. And I'll never forget this. The last memory that I have is his hand open up and boom. So what he had was a dead man's trigger. Diversion with the motorcycles, comes out right in the middle of the whole patrol, blows himself up, and we're all dead. Because of the Afghan National Army guy reacting immediately, it gave Brink and I time to identify the threat as he was walking out of this building, enough time to go meet that threat and disrupt his plan. I also believe, and there's no proof to this, that he was scared shitless of what he was doing, and that's the only reason why he didn't detonate when I hit him. He was probably so nervous, and he's just squeezing that thing. And it is only when he hit the ground that he, detonated. And then that final piece is the reason why I'm still alive, is I believe because his chest, which were all the ball bearings, was connected to the ground because he landed chest first. The blast threw me away, but it didn't kill me because the ball bearings didn't kill me. It just took a chunk of my left leg, but it killed my 4 friends. Command Sergeant Major Griffin, that was running rear security. Kennedy, Gray, and then Reggae. Major Kennedy, Major Gray, and Reggae. It all happened in 8 seconds. And I wrote a book, 8 Seconds of Courage. It's kind of a joke between all of us because in 8 seconds, you're a Medal of Honor recipient. People call you a fucking hero and all that shit. None of it is done by yourself. There's multiple points that allowed me to just react because I was the closest to him to do what I do. But Mahoney was following me right to it. Yeah. Anyone would have done it. You've done it. But the fucking sadistic part about war is it kills the best of us in ways that you can't believe it. The fact that the guy detonated at my feet and I lived, and these guys were 20 feet away, all died, is fascinating to me. It's so unfair.
How old was the kid, do you think?
Wild guess, 17 to 20.
Yeah.
Yeah, young, man.
When you recognized that he wasn't special needs, or at the moment you realized it was nefarious, did the thought process, I know it was split second, but did the thought of engaging him with your
100%. I was looking for a weapon, and I couldn't find one, so I just immediately improvised to my type of escalational force, which is to close the threat and get my hands on him.
I mean, your weapon was not. I mean, why not engage him?
Because I didn't know. There's always that risk that he was still a civilian.
I gotcha.
And then if I would have shot a civilian, I'm in fucking Leavenworth.
Yeah. So you rushed over there, you hit him with your rifle first. Yeah. Did you let go of the rifle? Was it slung and you let go of it after that to grab him?
I hit him, and when I dude, like, you know, you're trying to hit his chest, and you're hitting something because he had man jams, right?
Yeah.
And when you get close, you can see there's a bulge. But I hit it, and I was like, fuck. Like, you know, in my head kind of quickly. He's just happened so fast. That's when I just let go of my rifle, and I went and grabbed him. And that's, I mean, I'm grabbing the vest. That's the craziest part. Like, what's the craziest thing you've ever done in your life? Grabbing a life vest, suicide vest, like in action. And you're kind of like, I've never been trained to do this.
Yeah.
It's just like, all right, well, this is a new one. Let's figure this one out. We're going to do this together.
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, it just kind of, because I didn't know what he was until I got, you know, I confirmed it at that point.
Yeah. When you grabbed him, did he try to communicate? Did he say anything? What was
He never looked at me.
Even then?
Yeah, he was set on the boss. Like,
Wow.
He didn't even blink. He 100% was drugged up. There's no way. You know, I think like he got that fuel in him, right? That drug in there to the courage to go do it. And I think he was so scared. He didn't punch me. He didn't fight with me. He almost let me throw him, right? Like it was like he has given up. Part of me wants to say like he had no choice. And you know how that goes up there. I don't give a fuck though. You're still evil as shit to me. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way it works. But yeah, it just happened like that.
Is there anything like to this day that haunts you in terms of like do you still see that look in his face and his eyes of just being like a blank stare, not looking at you? Is that something that
I saw his face for a long time. I don't anymore. But, you know, you kind of learn to move on. I've never had a single moment I've never lost a single minute of sleep for what we've done to the enemy. Mm-hmm. And lunch bodies and stuff, you see it. I've lost a lot of sleep for my friends.
Yeah.
And what haunted me was what could I have done differently to save those guys? And how do you trade spots and stuff? And that becomes really deep really quickly.
Yeah. Is there, or I guess like when you grabbed him, did you consciously try to spin him around and shove him down, or did you just try to throw him and he spun on his own?
Yeah, what I wanted to do was I wanted to get him, like I just away. Like I wanted to get him towards that building again and then throw him as far as I could. And, you know, I'm not The Rock. So yeah.
You're a judo black belt though, right?
Yeah, but that's still
around.
To throw a human being, that's probably, you know, let's say 140 pounds, maybe 150 on a good day. That guy was, you know, that far. Like he went pretty far, I guess. Maybe not. But I wanted him away. And you're not thinking, like I'm not processing everything in the right time. Like people are like, did you think about dying? I was like, I didn't care about dying. I thought about, you know, protecting the boss and the team. That was it. And if you die, you die. That's just the way it is. Like you made that commitment a long time ago when you raise your right hand. Mm-hmm. Right? Do your fucking job. You don't want to die. You want to come home. You want to come home whole. But if you're put in a situation where you get to protect your team, and that means that making the ultimate sacrifice, that's an easy day at work.
Yeah.
Right? I'd rather do that than not do the right thing and people killed. In this case, we did everything that we could to do it right. We still lost people. You know. And then O'Brien fucking lost half a butt cheek. Because of that. I tell you, he was pissed in the hospital at me a little bit. He's like, I was sleeping. Yeah. It's like, yeah, you get to go home now.
Yeah. When you did you just shove him straight back and he spun on his own? Or?
Yeah. So I shoved him like that. So I kind of shoved him, and then and I think Mahoney also helped a little bit when he was trying to push him down, and you just kind of like, I think he just like, as I threw him like that, and he just kind of like landed, and he's wearing that vest, so the weight's probably guiding him too.
Yeah. So he lets go of that. It clacks off, and did you black out at that point?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what happened after that? I mean, how did the rest of the group react? Was there any follow-on ambush, or what transpired?
So there was a second one in a building that was coming out. I think they wanted to go 1-2, like just make sure the job's done. And because of how fast we reacted and the guy detonating early, it caused the other guy. It probably shocked him. It caused the other guy to detonate too. So that was one part.
Where was the second guy at?
Still in the building coming out.
Oh wow, no shit.
Yeah. And so that helped, right? But what happened was those cocksuckers, apologize for my language, but cocksuckers, the 15, that major, the reason why he got attacked is he didn't secure the area. You know what he did? He cleared it and he left. It's a hot route again. Yeah. But they were just on top of the stairs. So when the first bomb took off, they all rushed down. They came down. So they were there within a couple of minutes. So then they cordoned the area and provide actual security. So that prevented any potential further attacks, right? But I woke up a couple minutes later. My right foot was facing me. My fibula was completely sticking out. I had blood everywhere. I'll never forget. I was propped up because I'm on my backpack. I was kind of propped up. I was looking at everything, and I'm like the dude where I get a paper cut, I complain. And so now I'm looking at my foot, and I'm looking at my bone sticking out. I'm like, this is not good. But I could feel nothing. I remember thinking like, wow, this is I'm in shock. Okay, I probably got like 10, 15 minutes. That's how I was calculating in my head. And so I started checking myself for other wounds, and I had blood everywhere. I'm talking about like I was covered in blood. So I was like, am I internal bleeding and things? And it was this guy, it was a dude, like that was his blood because he blew up on me. And so then I remember like checking myself, took my helmet off, couldn't find my rifle to save my life. And it was still a cloud of dust. And I'm like, where am I? My ears are just ringing, it's all crazy. But I'm like, okay, cool. I stepped in an IED. That's all I could think of. It's like I stepped in an IED. It's an ambush. So I took my pistol out, made sure I had a round in the chamber, and I started to drag myself out. And I was just going to pop anyone that came, right? It's like fucking movies, right? I was just like,
Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, exactly. You're like, you come at me. Luckily, the first person I showed up was Brink, my platoon sergeant. And what he did is he grabbed me by the handle of my plate carrier and dragged me into a ditch. My medic was there with my terp. My medic had a blown ACL, MCL, severe concussion, but he's over there. He saved my life because I never applied a tourniquet. Why? Because my tourniquet was my lower left pocket of my uniform. The location at Sergeant Major always told me, you're an idiot for putting it in there because what happens if you step in an IED and you don't have a tourniquet? And
you didn't
now
listen.
I was like, God damn it. You know what I mean? Like he's going to, I remember thinking he's going to beat me up when he realizes that. But my medic saved my life because he applied, I'd lost a lot of blood. He applied a tourniquet, kept me awake. And then, after a couple minutes, I'm back to my senses, like really like clear. And one of my guys comes to me and I'm like, give me a sit rep. How many, give me casualty count and stuff. And he said, all right, sir. And I asked, I was like, what's Mountain Warrior 6 status? That's the colonel, because that was a top priority. And he's like, he's good. One of the very few people who got anything, he got a concussion, but because Ochart took him away from the blast, he was really the furthest away from it. And he was okay. I said, what's stats Mountain Warrior 7? It's our major. And he looked at me, I'll never forget, he shook his head. I was like, his fucking status. He's like, he's gone, sir. So I remember telling like Balderrama stop doing what the fuck he was doing. He was binging up my leg, and he was fucking melting. And I told him to get me out of that ditch. They picked me up. At that point, the other group's here, right? Like they cordon the area. So there's more U.S. soldiers, and they're triaging. And so they got me up, and I'm like, just put me, I can hop on my right leg. So I'm hopping my right leg, and there's a leg out there. It was the bomber's leg. And I was trying to kick it with my one good leg because I'm holding on. I was so fucking angry. And that's when I went, and I was like, I want to see the guys. And that's when I saw Griffin, Gray, Kennedy, and Reggae. They're all next to each other, all dead. And I don't know, man. I still had a pistol in my hand. And it was that's the hardest. I can't imagine a harder day, a harder picture in my life. Like, cause that's my patrol. These are my friends. And they're dead. They're gone. And what the craziest part about that moment though was that the local populace started to congregate towards the site. You know how they do. They just show up. They want to take. And I'll never forget the face of this one fucking guy who's smiling at the dead bodies. And so I was about to shoot him. I was not in the right mind. But I was about to shoot him. I had the pistol. They couldn't get the pistol out of my hand. And Ochart, my PSC, grabbed my hand, pulled it down. He's like, ain't worth it, sir. We'll get him eventually. Ain't worth it. And so then they put me in a truck, and just like that, they drove me to Asadabad. And that was the first field hospital up there.
Real quick before you go on that, was it the ball bearings that got the 4 guys? Yeah. Did they just ricochet off the ground? And
dude, it just, like, they kicked up and went that way, I guess, or something. Yeah. So that's when they did the forensic analysis and stuff, and they recreated a thing, because, there's a massive investigation, so many high-ranking folks, and, that's how they justified, they recreated the whole scene, and that's how they were able to, like, identify. I didn't know if it was the first bomber. For a year, 18 months, I thought it was the second bomber.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? I thought it was the second bomber that blew up, because he was, and it was that guy, which just like made things a lot worse. But and it was just like that. It just happened so quick.
Did the guy that you requested the 15 guys from that denied you, did he ever get in trouble or any repercussions for that?
So,
did you ever see him again?
I never saw him again. But when we landed in Andrews in Maryland, I told the wife of Colonel Walrath at the time, and he retired as Major General Walrath, and he was severely injured. I told her, I was like, please find out who that major is, because he wasn't part of my unit. So he was part of the SFAT units, like the advisory teams that the Army had this brilliant idea of bringing these special advisory teams from different units to be embedded with actual units to go teach pretty much do what the SF job, right? Because at a grander scale. And so he was on 101st, and that went with 4FID. And so I said, I don't know who he is, but please, like, make sure that the boss knows that guy never secured the area. And he refused to give me the folks. Long story short, from my understanding, is that his career ended shortly after that.
Yeah.
I don't think he got in trouble. I just think that they made sure that his career was you're done.
Yeah. All right. So you find yourself at Bagram, you said?
Yeah. So, Sadabad, back to Jalalabad. I flew in on Blackhawks with the bodies to Jalalabad. That was tough. And I'm in and out. And I'm back in Jalalabad. In Jalalabad, I spent a day or night there. I got to see, it was bittersweet, because I got to see everybody, right? A lot of people showed up to see us and say bye. And then they did their ceremony with the bodies. And then we flew that night. I flew back to Bagram after they did the ceremonies. I flew to Bagram, and that's when a serious surgeries happen.
Were you in pain at any point? Like, did the pain start to set in at some point when you were before the surgeries and when you were bouncing around?
So the pain, that's funny. So it got better when after I got to the first field hospital. But boy, when they put me in at MATV on site, and they closed the door, shock went away. And it is not, that vehicle is not designed to,
It's not a Cadillac.
No.
Yeah.
And it is not an ambulance.
Yeah.
So I'm on those tight seats in the back, and I have my leg like kind of like propped up on top of the ammo boxes under the gunner's turret, and it feels like it's someone has a blowtorch and it's just burning me alive. And it was the worst pain I've ever felt in my life. And so then Sergeant McLean, and what's his other fucking name? The other guy got into the vehicle, and they were driving me to Sadabad. And you have to go through the circle in Sadabad, and there's all the jingle trucks and stuff, people, and I'm screaming at them like, just drive over them. I don't give a fuck. I'm so pissed. And McLean goes, "Sir, I'll never forget. Are you bleeding all over my truck?" And I'm seeing you stop, like because I'm pissed off at the Afghans, like, fucking drive faster, man. And he's like, and he starts to like tell me like, I can't believe you're bleeding over my truck. You know how much time I have to spend and clean this? You're gonna go home, go do your thing. I'm gonna be here for the next 2 months, just scrubbing every day. Oh, you're fucking. And I'm like, are you fucking serious? And now I'm focusing my anger towards him. He was doing that on purpose. He wanted to get my mind off the pain and me be angry at him. So we joke about that now. And it worked really well. And as soon as we got to Sadabad, I remember like I opened the door and I'm crawling myself out. I used a quick release in my plate carrier, get the shit off, and I'm like, I just need something to take this pain away. The reason why I was in so much pain is I never got morphine because I was the last guy. They couldn't find me. I was the last guy they saw. So as they were triaging everybody, we took, I think 16 of us were medevac back to the U.S.
Wow. Right?
There's 24, and we lost 4, and then only 4 actually stayed in country after that. Right? Wow. It was crazy. It was a pretty severe. So by the time they got to me, they ran out of morphine. So I had nothing. Right, for 45 minutes, and I'm you could see my tibia, like there's just no more skin, and my fibula is still taken out, and my foot's whatever. So I'm over here, I'm like, just get me somewhere, whatever y'all have, I want it all. So they put me on at this table, and they plugged me with some morphine and stuff, and finally I went to sleep. But yeah, that shit sucked,
man. That sounds fucking brutal. So you ping pong your way back over, I'm assuming, through Germany and then ultimately to Walter Reed and have a number of surgeries, I suspect. Yeah,
I've had a total of 34 surgeries. The last one happening October of 2020.
Yeah.
I will have more.
Yeah.
It's just the way it works. I think eventually they're going to cut the leg.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to, it's almost like, they reconstructed my Achilles, they fused everything, but I always have issues. And the infections are the worst because anything can get it infected. And so I've had, screws come back out of my foot that started to create this infection. And so eventually, and the issues it's given my back, my knees, and all that stuff. So the recommendation is we wait till we, better prosthetics. Well, that's my recommendation anyway. That's what I told them.
That's our recommendation.
I told them, like, when our robot legs come out,
Yeah.
I'll jump in.
When I can control my foot with my iPhone, I'll get that shit lopped off.
Actually, a really good point. Yeah.
That's a good metric.
Yeah. And longer batteries. Yeah. Right? That's what I'm waiting for. Solar.
When there's a Tesla battery in my iPhone and I can control my foot with it, that's when I'll do it.
Why did you move to Texas? Yeah. Well, there's a lot of sun and I have a solar leg, so I can recharge every day. But it was end up at Walter Reed, 4th floor with a bunch of dudes, and spent a year, spent 6 months inpatient, 5 months inpatient, and another year after that, physical therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, learning how to walk again, and dealing with a lot of infections, surgeries after surgeries after surgeries. I had a PICC line for 6 weeks. I didn't know what a PICC line was until that, and that shit was really interesting.
Yeah. To walk now, I mean, seeing you walk in, like your gait didn't seem severely abnormal or anything. How does it feel to walk now? Is it painful to walk?
No, it on and off. Like too much time on my feet. What I've done, working out, type of shoes and stuff, will impact it. But I learned how to adjust my gait.
Yeah.
Right. So like it's a very different gait than my right. especially when I run. I sort of slap my foot because it's fused, right? But that's why you do physical therapy. And that's why you do it seriously. We have the best fucking doctors, man. Like these, and by the way, when they can't do something, they send you to the real specialists, like the top of the top, the ones in Georgetown, Johns Hopkins, or down in Tampa or wherever. So like we're well taken care of.
Yeah, that's damn good to hear. In terms of the actual Medal of Honor and that whole process, at what point did you learn of being a recipient of that, and how did that process work?
So I knew they put me in for the Distinguished Service Cross. After the investigation, they put Mahoney for the Silver Star for following me and being part of it, and they put me in for the Distinguished Service Cross for really, in essence, being the first one there, and the actions, right? And I never thought about a medal, didn't care about it. So you recover and you do all that stuff, and after about a year, it's clear that I'm not going back in, right? Well, I can't do what I wanted to do. So the goal was simple, right? I was going to finish up that tour and then go either Rangers or SF. So I'd done my SF packet, and I was, and I had a date. So that was the thing, right? Or I was going to go, and I was in between, right? I was talking to the boss about it, starting Sergeant Major. I was like, do I go SF or should I go to battalion? And with battalion, it would have been a little bit longer because of I was being a captain, so I'd have to go career course and do our stuff. And the boss was like, you probably want to go battalion, right? And so we were assessing that. But I had that on my career path. That's where I wanted to go. And when I realized that was not the case because I was limb salvage and because they didn't cut my leg. If I would have been an amputee, I actually could have gone back and to go to any of these schools.
Wow.
But because the doctors elected to keep my leg, I didn't make that decision. I thought my leg was going to get cut in Germany when they told me there was a 75% chance when I wake up I'll be amputated. And I said, do what you got to do. I was too drugged up to even care.
Yeah.
But I woke up, I had my leg. Because I was limb salvage, that would take years for me to recover. And so they medically discharged me, right? Or retired me. And I remember being, after about a year and a half, when I started being like good to go, like to actually, I can walk and do all stuff, I was recruited by the Defense Intelligence Agency to go in their clandestine sector and work there. So I spent my last year and a half of my military time as a military guy in that agency. He did some really fun stuff.
That you can't talk about.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's just, I'm not going to talk about like what we did, but like I got to be part of a really special group within that, embedded, working directly with our JSOC and our sister agency, CIA. And I did a lot of my stuff CONUS, so in the States, and and supported a lot of OCONUS stuff. And so really loved it. Like I was like, wow, I have a future here, and I'm serving a very different capacity, but I fucking love it too. Yeah. Like I'm not shooting people in the face, right? Or getting shot in the face. Well, I guess I could technically with the job if I got caught. But like this is really fascinating work, and tradecraft and stuff. I learned a lot. Went to a bunch of school, did my SEER schools because of that. Was a ton of fun, and never thought about a medal. So then I'm out in July 2015. I'm retired, and someone comes up to me. They're like, "Hey, did you ever get that Distinguished Service Cross?" I was like, "Nah." And we started joking like, "Oh, typical Army, probably lost it in paperwork," And I moved on. I was a civilian. That was until we went to Area 51, not Area 51, the Area 51, in that general vicinity to do some helo inserts with some case officers and some JSOC Delta boys. And they were teaching them how to do some stuff. And I was op 4 for my for the group. I came in as a support, and the whole point was for me to learn how these case officers were doing that work, because obviously that was my route. That was what I'd be doing in the next year's exercise. So I was learning. And walk out of chow hall, and this entire time I have no service there. Literally no service. I walk out of chow hall and my phone rings. I'm like, crap, oh, this is crazy. And it's 0000 number. I'm like, oh, this is weird. Pick it up. Hey, is this Captain Groberg? And I'm like, yes, but no longer Captain Groberg. I'm out. Like, yeah, don't worry about that. This is Colonel Slaney with Pentagon. I'm calling you to let you know that on Monday, September 21st, you're going to get a call from a senior high-ranking official between the hours of 1400 and 1430. Is this a good phone number? Yeah, Rajat, sir. Okay, don't miss that call. Rajat, sir. He's like, don't miss that call. Okay, sir. I hung up. And then looked at my phone. And I'm like, yo, I work for these people. They can't just turn on towers.
Yeah.
Right? It's one of those weird things that happen in life where, like, you know, they say lightning never strikes twice, but it might strike there. I must have walked out, and for that one split second, I got connection and it worked. So I told my boss, Dean, he was a colonel at the time for our unit. And he said, what'd you do? Because we just talked about all these Jews that are getting like prosecuted for like dumb shit they did in war. And he's like, did you do anything stupid? I was like, no, I never done anything stupid. But I'm like, I don't think they'd call me to tell me like someone's going to call me on Monday if I did something stupid. I have CID on my ass right now, right? Probably, you know, walking me into a meeting room. He's like, yeah, you're right. He said, just take the half day. And so I did. And yeah, I was with my, at that time, girlfriend, now wife, and we're sitting there, called 000, picked up. Had no idea what it was about. And then, except that thought that morning, oh, it must be the Distinguished Service Cross. Okay. Pick up the phone. It's the assistant to the president. Hey, this is Florent Groberg. Yeah, Bob, would you mind holding for the president? And I was like, what? Yes, sure. Okay. Didn't expect that one. And it was Obama. And we'd met a few times, and he invited me to the White House before that to meet the Heat and stuff. And, you know, he's Chicago. I consider myself Chicago. And he was like, hey, Flo, I'm calling you. I'll let you know that it's my honor I'll be presenting you with a Medal of Honor. And that's when my life changed again. And you just can't, you're listening, you're not understanding what's really happening. I'm just, Rajat, cool. Hung up, sat down. My wife was watching Ellen. So we started watching Ellen. And I was like, I think our lives changed. And she's like, I think so too. And everything changed.
Wow.
I couldn't go back to work the next day because we were in a cover for status office.
Oh, no.
So
shit.
I called, you know, I got on what was that, Wicker at the time. I hit up the boss. I was like, I need to talk to you. So I called him, and he's like, Medal of Honor. He's like, don't fucking show up to work tomorrow. We'll figure that out. And I never went back to the office.
Wow.
Back to all my shit. Never went back to the office because they didn't want to put a signature on me and them.
Yeah.
And we did it was crazy.
What, so yeah, I mean, I guess that if that flips your life upside down, not being able to do stuff, what comes along with that? I mean, is there any accommodations made for getting that in terms of, I mean, do they give you a stipend because you got that, or like, how does that work?
Yeah, you get $1,200 a month, tax free, which is nice.
On top of any other disability, or
on top of any other disability. So I got my medical retirement and stuff. So I mean, you know, I always say the Philippines, but I don't want to joke around the Philippines because of the earthquake that just happened there.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
So it fucking sucks. But I always say, like, all hell breaks loose, I'll just go to the Philippines, open up a tiki bar, and just live my life comfortable, right?
Yeah.
That was before I met Carson. But so now I don't think she'd want to go to the Philippines, but we'll find somewhere else. But so it's nice stipend. But what was crazy is that, and I talk a lot about this now, and when I talk about transitioning and supporting those, you know, troops that are transitioning, and it's hard to find the next passion. And really what crushed me was I loved the job I was in. Loved it. I thought there was another way of serving, and I was really good at it. And now they were taking that away from me.
Yeah.
So for fucking 6 weeks, I spent a lot of time in the Pentagon with the PAOs to learn how to block and bridge, you know, the topics that I don't want to be involved with, specifically because we're going to do a lot of media interviews, and also to create this new identity. And they're like, okay, so we can't talk about the work that you're doing, right? We can't tell them you're with the agency, correct? So what do we tell them? I don't know. And so they came up with this: you're a wounded warrior, and you're transitioning out, and you're doing an internship with ODNI at the Pentagon. I said, okay, you do realize, like, I retired. So if anyone puts two and two together, there's going to be still a gap. They're like, no, you could just do, you know, you've been doing it for a while. I was like, okay, cool. So I lied to a bunch of, like, interview, you know, not politicians, a bunch of media folks about what my job was. And I just thought it was just so funny. So I did go to the ODNI office for like a 3 days. They had no idea what was happening, who I was and why the fuck I was going up there. But their bosses told them that I need to go there. And after 3 days, I just went home.
Yeah.
And I spent the next 2 months at home. And finally, they brought me back to the agency and put me at a desk and talked to General Stewart about my career. And it was pretty simple. He said, it's really hard for you to be a spy if you have a Wikipedia page.
Yeah, no shit.
Like, yeah, no kidding. I disagreed. I said, no, it's the best cover.
Yeah. Yeah. Who's this guy? Oh, he's the Medal of Honor guy. That's
yeah.
wounded.
You
like,
can
what's
travel
he
anywhere, any embassies, all events and stuff, and be like, he's just representing the United States. No one, Medal of Honor. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was it. So that was it was a transition.
Yeah. How was the actual ceremony going through all that and kind of the surreal nature of what I would imagine that would be like?
It's nuts. I mean, the number one thing that I told the president is that I want to make sure the families are there and I want you to honor them and recognize them. And then the other piece, then that was to the president. And then I talked to the staff and the Pentagon, Slaney, and the whole team that were organizing everything. I said, okay, I want my team there, and I want the boss, and I want all the families there, priority. And obviously my family and Carson's family. That's my priority. So they got my entire team there. They pay for the travel and all that stuff. They got
awesome.
The families there. I call the families, asked for the permission to receive the medal because here I am being now recognized as a hero when their loved one is dead. And so I felt shame, honestly. So then they all came and, you had the SecDef, Secretary of the Army, all these politicians and leaders. It was packed. Like that was like it was really, really packed because I was the first immigrant to receive it in Vietnam. And they made a big deal of that. And I think Obama had an unbelievable speech. I don't remember almost any of it except the fact that he made a few jokes and then he asked the families, the Gold Star families, to stand up. He talked about the importance of them and their loved one. And then he recognized my team. And that's all I wanted.
Yeah.
But I did tell him this. I was like, it's a heck of a long speech for 8 seconds of action. And I almost fell out.
Yeah.
I was staring at the chandelier. I was like, this citation is way too long for this. Like, I'm going to fall out. He's waiting. And then he put the medal around me. I was really emotional.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Because I felt shame. I felt like a fraud and I felt shame.
Really?
Yeah, because guys died, and I struggled with that for a long time. And they died on my watch. And here I'm being recognized as a hero according to them. And for a day I feel it was a failure. And then to be recognized by myself and not with the team, it was hard one to swallow.
Has anybody from the team or was there that day ever made you feel shameful that way, or have they all been supportive?
Absolutely, always been supportive.
Because some Medal of Honor recounts are, I won't say contested, but kind of that. Like some of them guys are like, that's not what fucking that's bullshit, or whatever. It's like you never know. I mean, they were there, and some people are salty about it or whatever, which I guess leads me to, well, I'll get into that in a second. But so with the support of them, has that helped you kind of reconcile that feeling of shame and be proud of it, or at least not be shameful, or do you still feel that way?
I don't feel shame. I feel responsibility, and 100% with them being there, it was the first time we're all there together again since the action, and just hearing their stories and their support was like huge, and their family support was huge for the Gold Stars. So yeah, I was very much a necessity for me to get to a stage where I was like, okay, I got a platform now, and I represent all you guys. Most importantly, our Gold Star families, and I got to do some good with it. Yeah,
well, that's awesome. Did you guys? Was that the only time that you were together? Or did you guys go out like to dinner or drinks or anything like that? Like, did you guys?
We spent a week together.
Oh no shit.
Yeah. I mean, so they showed up on Monday. Ceremony was on Thursday, but we spent like a lot of media interviews and stuff. We spent a whole week, and then the Pentagon thing was on Friday, and they were there the whole time.
Yeah, that must have been cathartic, I'm sure.
Yeah, man. It was just like, it's just good to be back with the boys.
Yeah, yeah, I'll bet. I'm curious about the Medal of Honor recipient club?
The society?
Yeah, like is there I mean, is there any cattiness there between Medal of Honor recipients, or are you guys all pretty cordial with each other, or like are you guys tight, or is it weird?
It's like anything you can think. It's like the exact thing. Like it's like think about a motorcycle club, because you and I were talking about Sons of Anarchy and stuff.
Yeah.
Like your family, I don't mean you always like each other.
Yeah. Is there some
fuck yeah. I'm cool with 95%, not 99%.
Yeah.
And I have my, there's a group of us that's really close. I think the younger generation, we're all really close.
Yeah.
And and my God, there's so many amazing heroes like that you talk to on the older side. So there's always a story at the conventions, but there are a couple of dudes that I don't appreciate the way they go about it.
Yeah.
And it's on them. I believe that you don't wear the medal to make money off it. You go fucking work like you're supposed to, right? Now you can wear the medal and go speak and stuff, but there's a purpose behind it. That's just me, right? I mean, there's no book on how to wear the medal. I don't wear the medal almost ever, except if I'm with Medal of Honor recipients or it's a government event function. As a recipient, I had to wear it. Otherwise, I just leave it at home.
Yeah.
And actually returned. I followed Sal Junta's example, and I returned the Medal of Honor I received from the boss. I returned that I returned Clint's. His grandma had passed away, so he was going to go with me. We returned it back to the unit. So it's at division.
Oh, really?
So that's where the medal's at, like the actual official medal. I have a backup, so. But there's individuals that I don't see eye to eye. I just don't like the way they represent it, and I just don't want to be associated with them.
Yeah.
So, and I let them know.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah. That cause any heartburn?
No, fuck them. No, absolutely not. And they'll tell you the same thing about me, right?
Yeah.
They'll be like, nah, whatever. I don't fight with them.
Yeah.
I just don't go drink beers with them.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Is there going to be a Housewives of?
No, we're not like that. No.
Fucking.
And it's very like,
Yeah.
we don't hang out enough for that to happen.
Yeah.
But I have a tight group, and a hell of a lot of respect. Like everyone does things differently. Like I love, what Sal's done. Obviously Leroy Petrie is now the society president, and he's doing some amazing good. Will Swenson still being active, always being involved. Britt, SEAL guy. He's been like awesome. Like I got it before him, but like he's like a mentor in so many different aspects. You got Ed Byers, like who's SEAL Team 6 dude, awesome dude, right?
Yeah.
He's got a vision on what he wants to do, and he's kind of like me, he not like me. He's Ed by himself, but he's got big things in his mind, and he's not gonna let the medal represent him. He comes from one of the closest group and team in the world that people don't understand. So he's got that world, and he's trying to make some good out of it. Carpenter being the youngest guy, recipient. Dakota doing his own thing, right? And still serving away. Everyone's got a mission, right? Eldrin Beer, a lot of these, any of these guys, like all of them. There's just a couple that just younger, older, where I believe that potentially their understanding of what the medal represents doesn't fit me, right? And so I don't hang out with them. That's it. I don't. If I'm at an event, I'll be next to them, right? You would never know.
Yeah.
I don't do shit. I don't go talk shit behind their back. I just don't hang out with them.
Yeah.
And they know I don't really appreciate it. And guess what? They see it differently.
Yeah. No, I'm tracking. So what are you up to now?
So right now, the biggest thing, I work in corporate. I work for Microsoft, running some on the Azure global cloud, and really my customer is the DoD and EIC and public sector. So I work a lot with the military.
Yeah.
I got guys who come from the tier 1 units, folks who come from the agency, who understand mission, and we help our software engineers and data scientists build technology to actually make sense. First time to go help the mission, whether it's secure comms, whether it's AI, machine learning, satellite stuff, or edge things for tactical data packs and things like that, to help the warfighter on the ground be more effective and communicate better and things like that. So it's been a ton of fun doing that.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, still serving in the same capacity.
I feel like no matter what, I'll always serve.
Yeah.
Whether it's that or in the nonprofit sector.
Yeah.
community sector, it's just like a passion, man. That's what we do. You're doing it, man. You know, it's just the way it works.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of which, do you want to talk about Warrior Ethos, Bravo, Sierra, MVP, ATF, any of those that you want to kind of plug quick?
So, you know, as I mentioned, like, you know, in the nonprofit sector, there's a story behind everyone's success or transition. I'm a huge advocate for, you know, transitioning, right? Because I didn't understand what I would do next. Like I went through all the problems that so many of us go through when in the military. When you transition to the military, you're thinking like, I don't bring anything to the table. I was an infantry guy. I love rucking and going up, you know, mountains and finding bad dudes and, you know, with my team taking care of the threat. I didn't understand what took place, what all that encompasses to be successful in that, the organization, the planning, the strategic, all that stuff that is transferable into corporate America. And it wasn't until I met Jared Shepard, who has a couple businesses, former sniper, Army guy, turned IT guy for Ordierno, and then started his own companies, right, on the IT side, who started this organization called Warriors Ethos out in Virginia. And he wanted to at first take tier one folks, spec ops guys, JSOC guys and gals, and help them transition out of Walter Reed. And then he brought me in, and he just opened up his door and just gave me a whole different perception of like what's out there and what I can bring to the table. And so we walked through all my experiences as an Army guy, and we transferred those words into civilian words, and we started doing a compare contrast of like what that could look like in a career. And we did the time I did in, you know, agency, we did the same thing. Actually, that's not true. He got me to the agency, so that was right before that. Then we did that again, the whole scenario after the medal. So it is true. We did it again because I went back to Warriors Ethos to figure out my next steps. Yeah. But he helped me transition, and he took me in, and he opened up his network. He got me comfortable with the idea of transitioning. He got me comfortable with my background, and then he got me confident. And so I've been with Warriors Ethos now since 2013, and I'm a board member. And now we're racking the folks in, and we have such a massive network. And we're not, you know, hire our heroes and have work with them, or hire Heroes USA who take, you know, a bunch of people and go through this curriculum and program. We're more personalized, and it's been a lot of fun. So Warriors Ethos, it really changed my life and helped me with LinkedIn when I did the course on LinkedIn on transitioning. So if you're looking at transitioning, I did a course there with 12-step program. And then the other guys, MVP, Emerging Investment Players, started by Nate Boyer, Special Forces guy, NFL guy, movie guy. He's in Terminal. Yeah, that just came out, right? He's in there, and him and Jay Glazer saw an opportunity to connect guys and gals who are transitioning and struggling with this, you know, athletes who are transitioning and struggling, and put them together to do a workout at a gym and then do a powwow once a week. And that's been an amazing program. And the one we do in Dallas, in the area, is hosted at the Adaptive Training Foundation by David Bora, former NFL guy, who found this new love in giving back when he trained Travis Mills, a quadruple amputee, and got him back in the gym. And together they really started this whole concept. And Bora made it to this nonprofit organization that does 9-week curriculum courses where they fly in disabled athletes, veterans, and you know, police officer and stuff, and they go through this change in them in 9 weeks, make them believe like they can go do anything. There's this girl who's freaking handicapped, she's in a wheelchair, but she likes bodybuilding a little bit. She came in the last course, she was benching 135 pounds. Oh shit! All right, 9 weeks later, 210. Jesus Christ. Fucking dude, and I'm wild. Like, come on now, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's a fucking jump. I had to go on the bench and get up there and be like, I put 210. I'm really struggling, like hardcore struggling. I got a couple of reps, like I need to start benching again. That's fucking great. And then Bravo Sierra, that's a company you probably see them online, and they do a lot of products like, you know, they deodorant and stuff, but they have it's for the military, right? A bunch of us who we're part of it because they give back, right? Every one of their purchases gives back to MWR and a Green Beret Foundation and all that stuff. And it's cool because it's all veterans that started it. Not the founders, but the founders believed in veterans. They brought a bunch of veterans and hired veterans. Yeah, Eric Bartel, who's head of their philanthropic side of the house, who's amazing. Nice. And huge commitment there. So it's been a ton of fun to be able to support those organizations.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Well, I'll tell you, you got the warrior spirit. No two ways about it. I mean, from hearing your story, you can tell you were born with it, and it's just something that's inherently ingrained. And it's such a fascinating journey that you've had from birth to immigrating here and serving and continuing to serve. And your story is fascinating, man. I really appreciate you coming and sharing it with us. Is there anything that you want to mention or plug where we can find you, or any of these groups that you want to mention to support of where we can find them?
Yeah, so I'll put, if you find me on Instagram, you'll see, the organizations, and I can connect with me. I'll send you all the information. But the last thing I want to say, this is an important one. And, I was watching UFC this past weekend, and Patty, obviously, a Brit dude who lost his close friend to suicide. I went through my own moments in 2012 when I was suicidal at the hospital. I was pumped up with ketamine, oxys, morphine, and I wasn't me, and I hate drugs. And so it made my demons a lot stronger. And I was trying to find a solution to my problems and trying to replay the scenarios over and over again about why I survived, my friends didn't. And in the end, it was my demons were like, you're not worthy, you're a failure, no one wants you around. And so you become suicidal and you're trying to figure it out. And it was Travis Mills who really saved my life in essence, because he came to my room in November 2012 and had heard about this captain that was really angry at the world. And he walked in, and quadruple amputee, smile on his face, and just in 15 minutes gave me a purpose, which was like, hey, dude, you're still here to represent your brothers and their families. So like, you got to make sure you earn your breath. And that I've taken that to heart. And I didn't realize that the way for me to really deal with it was by being open about it and having this conversation and talking about it. And so what Patty said this past weekend about like, just because we're men doesn't mean that, we can't feel pain. We can't be vulnerable, that we can't talk. And I thought that was really key, because that's what I've been saying in my speeches and around my community all the time, which is, man, vulnerability is a strength. Being able to open up and talk about the moments that you're struggling. Doesn't matter if you're a Pogue or a SEAL Team 6 guy, right? That strength to be able to talk about what you're going through, PTS, anxiety, frustration, all that stuff, that saves people's lives. Not only yours, but that's going to save someone else's life who's going through the same thing, but they're ashamed, or they feel like they're weak, or they feel like no one's going to understand. And so I've been very open and talking about that a lot, because I've seen too many of my buddies commit suicide. Yeah. I know I've been there myself. It doesn't matter how strong you are physically or what you've done in your life. When those demons in your head decide to play tricks on you, there's no Taliban, Al-Qaeda, Chechnyan, whatever, hell, Russian, right? Who's always going to be, that's going to be stronger than your own mind, because they know you better than you ever know yourself. Yeah. And they're playing every trick in the book to make sure you do something terrible. So, yeah.
Well, that's brilliant, man. I appreciate you saying that. And, yeah, I agree. I know we've both had a number of close friends that we've lost, both in combat as well as to their own hand after the fact, which I think is double tragic.
100%.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, and thank you.
All right, brother. Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thanks again for coming on. I appreciate it. For those of you listening, I hope you got as much gratitude as I do for gentlemen such as Flo for doing what he's done for the country. I want to thank you on behalf of the MIKEDROP podcast as well as the country for everything you've done. So I really appreciate you coming and sharing it. For the listener, if you didn't like it, feel free to choke yourself. And until next time, this is MIKEDROP.